Hello and welcome to day 2 of the Clash of Clans World Championship July monthly finals. I'm Fend, joined here with my fellow co-casters. Itsu, are you ready to be giving away a golden ticket today?
I am so ready, especially after yesterday. We had some incredible matches. One of the closest matches we have ever seen, with the difference being 1 second on average or only one bidding. So I'm super excited to see what the day has in store for us. Woody, how do you feel?
I feel amazing, Itsu. It seems like as the months drag on, the competition gets even grittier, closer, more intense, and there is no way to easily predict any of the matches that we're going to see today, but every single one is crucial for the teams that are involved. 4 remain, and this is the last open opportunity to score a golden ticket. We are going to have some incredible clash in action today. Lexnos, what are you looking forward to the most?
I'm looking forward to some great matches and some really exciting action. I hope we somehow find a way to get a match with an even closer result than what happened yesterday. We'll see about that though. Carbon, why don't you remind everybody exactly how we got here?
Indeed, these players started through stage 1 in the open qualifiers. Then we narrowed it down to the 128 teams for the monthly qualifiers, which was last weekend, which then made it to this weekend here, the monthly finals. And the last stage, the last chance to be able to get a gold ticket, will be in the last chance qualifiers to eventually make their way to the Clash of Clans World Championship Finals later this year. Itsu, let's break down a little bit more about today.
We have started into the weekend with 6 teams, all seeded into a 6-team double elimination bracket, with the top 2 seeded teams got a bye in the first round. We're now down to 4 of those teams, and every single match is going to be played in a 5 vs 5 clan war, where each player has only 1 attack. The first place team is going to earn a golden ticket to the World Finals later this year, and the second place team is going to earn a silver ticket to the last chance qualifier. But on top of those golden tickets, there's even more those teams are playing for, Woody.
Oh yeah, there is. We got $55,000 to award for this weekend alone. $5,000 was awarded to the teams eliminated yesterday, $6,500 to the team that drops out first today, $8,500 to the third place team in the lower bracket finals, and then the 2 teams in the final spot will get the lion's share of the prize pool, $12,000, along with that silver ticket to the team in the second place spot, and it's an $18K award for the team that wins today. And on top of that, that golden ticket is going to be worth so much more when they go to the grand finals. The World Championship at the end of this year will give most of that $1 million total prize pool for all Clash of Clans World Championship events taking place in 2024. Can't wait to see how that gets dispersed and which team will get to climb to the very top. We've got defending champions, we've got former winners, we've got teams that have been just barely at the precipice of victory. This is going to be an incredible year for Clash of Clans Esports. But Lexnos, let's take a look at the bracket next.
Yes, indeed. Look at the bracket here. All the teams that have been competing this weekend. We started off in the upper bracket. Our 2 top seeds, Emo Shifters and Na'Vi, did receive a round 1 bye. Some of the other teams that had to move into the lower bracket, Emo Shifters and VN Esporting, yesterday we did see them get eliminated, but Dizzy and Pulse Gaming winning their lower bracket match, staying alive, moving on to round number 2 there in the lower bracket. That's going to be our first matchup today. In the upper bracket, we've seen Na'Vi and Marcos Esports advance all the way to the upper finals, and they will be our second match today.
And we have such amazing matches. We have to take a look at who we think are going to be winning these matches for the caster predictions. And it is unanimous almost across the board, as Woody is taking Dizzy for match number 7. While the rest of us going Pulse Gaming and Na'Vi. Be sure to let us know, all of you that are watching, who you believe is going to be winning these matches. But it's going to be incredible, and we are so close to a golden ticket to find out that 4th team going to the Clash of Clans World Championship. Itsu, how do you take these predictions from us casters?
I think especially the first match is going to be really, really intense because we have to remind ourselves that this is kind of like a best of 3 to some degree because those teams have played already plenty of times and so far it is tied up. Last month in the qualifiers they have faced each other and Dizzy actually took the victory. In this qualifier they have matched already against each other as well, where Pulse has gotten the victory. So this is the third match now. So it's going to be the low bracket, which means whoever is going to lose this is going to drop out of this competition. Well, you guys, or at least Lexnos, Calvin, and me, we think it's going to be Pulse. Woody, you have something different here to say. Maybe with the stats, what exactly are you looking for here?
I took Dizzy Exodizos, and I'll defend that position too. You know, they may have a slightly lower hit rate at 14.5 average stars per war against the 14.6 on Pulse's side. But this is going to be an extremely tight match, and those are matches that Dizzy Exodizos has done well at in the past. This is a squad that has not always scored perfect wars, but is always consistent in their strong performance, as opposed to Pulse. Look, they got a 15-star war yesterday against Dizzy Exodizos. They overcame that big drop that they had in the previous matchup against them, and they seem to be in the momentum position against them. However, Pulse also scored a 1-star in their war yesterday against Navi. That just shows to me that they're a little bit brittle in their approach. Their aggression is just so over the top that if they don't hit that 3-star that they need, they're willing to risk it all on an attack that may or may not come out in their favor. So I think Dizzy's consistency is what gives them the tip of the hat in my view. But Lexnos, what do you think?
It's an interesting point for sure. Both these teams have their ups and downs, but overall, compared to the rest of the teams that we've been seeing all month long, these are two top caliber teams, both very capable of hitting perfect wars, and it's just going to come down to who shows up today, who does not make that small mistake when their opening attackers are going for speed. So we'll have to see what kind of stuff they have in store for us early on in this match.
And I remember, Lex, you talked about yesterday, potentially, were we seeing almost more 1-stars than 2-stars because they have to take some risks. You never know, as the town halls may not go down. But we're taking a look at the community prediction, and 59% of you are taking Pulse Gaming, while 41 going with Dizzy. So looks like we didn't have a unanimous decision across the board in this very first match here today, but you guys are close to as well, so it's going to be a great matchup here, and I cannot wait to see who's going to be able to advance. Remember, this is a lower bracket match. Elimination is on the line, and this is one of their last hopes of trying to get a golden ticket, potentially if they make it to the grand finals, and they have to force a bracket reset, which we saw Synchronic do, but no one else really has been able to do that from the lower bracket.
Yeah, it's just so hard to really make sure that you're pushing all the way through, and then on top of that, you have to win twice to force this bracket reset in the finals and claim that golden ticket. But I think getting to the second place already is like such a big difference, obviously in prize money, but as well like just getting a ticket in general. Like the difference between the third and second seed is just massive. Like no ticket and the silver ticket is a huge difference, and then obviously being able to upgrade it to the golden ticket if you win it all, that is the, well, cherry on the cake all of those teams are going for, and it's really going to be intense in this matchup. Just because, as we said, those two teams have already faced off against each other so many times. So they might be, well prepared another time to bait each other. Or maybe not. Who knows, Woody?
Yeah, I think this is going to be some straight up clash and the best that we've seen from these teams yet, and not really throwing any kinks into the works, not trying to be creative, not trying to be overly, mind gamey with this. I think they're going to be throwing the best bases that they can possibly build at this. They're going to be using very standard attacks today. They're not going to be taking risks unless they're really far behind and need to make up some big time difference in order to try to close a gap. But as you mentioned, guys, already, Navi has a silver ticket. They are guaranteed at least a spot in the last chance qualifiers. That's a comfortable position for them because it means that they have a fallback option. They don't have to go all in today. That's a factor certainly when they go up against a team like Marcos Esports, which wants to get into that grand finals at the very least so that they can guarantee another ticket for themselves. Na'Vi can just play it cool, play it easy, play it consistently, and not go for any wild out-of-the-box strategies.
Some good points there. Let's hope that all the teams are ready to compete and ready to bring us their best attacks as we get ready to jump into match number 1 here. It is going to be Itsu and I covering the match, so we'll be saying goodbye to Carbon and Woody for the time being. And so Itsu, are you ready? Do you have any more final thoughts? Maybe some of these players you're looking forward to seeing their attacks in particular?
I mean, overall, both teams have so far showed us really good on offense and defense. There was one slip up from Pols versus Na'Vi, but then again, it is Na'Vi, right? Like, there is always some nerves going into this, but at this point, they can't allow anything like this to happen. They have to make this work, and it seems like Pols Gaming is attacking first.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that one miss from Pulse Gaming yesterday against Na'Vi, was it a 1-star?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So it is an interesting point to keep in mind. Carbon hit on it again just a little bit ago. I think we've seen more 1-stars than 2-stars this weekend, and it's just crazy to me how these players are willing to go so risky with some of these plans and saving the Town Hall to be the last thing to go down. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be an elimination match. Pulse Gaming versus Dizzy. Wado is in first, and what is he bringing for us, Itsu?
It's the Root Riders, but he's bringing it with the Barbarian King and the Angry Jelly, which we see more and more nowadays as a pet combined with the Archer Queen or the Barbarian King. I feel like those were the most commonly used combinations for this pet. We have the Siege Barracks working on the far left side, but right into a Tesla farm it goes, where the Root Riders are helping now and joining up with those Wizards to try to push even faster into the core.
He's getting most of his army pushing alongside the left part of the base. A lot of Root Riders over there. The Grand War and the Apprentice War and the Poison Lizard trying to do as much damage as possible. He's investing quite a few spells. Super Minions out of the Siege Barracks on the left side as well. Going to be able to do some damage. The Archer Queen does have the Royal Champion assisting her, and we're gonna pop that Royal Champ ability, and she gets really fast with that haste vial, zooming past the core as the Overgrowth expires.
Rage Tower goes off, but a great rage making to the Town Hall and that Fern Tower, having no chance of fighting back. The Royal Champ did go down, but some of those Hawks are still remaining, and this is going to be indeed the first 3-star. We have had it many times that those first attacks are setting off the match in such an important way, where you're forcing your opponent, maybe even way more risky approaches. We have seen it over the qualifiers, over all of those different months, more and more often, that teams who were under pressure are more willing to do most mistakes. But as well, if you are somehow able to live up to the pressure and can somehow handle that, you're becoming the hero of your team. And Dizzy is going to try to make sure that they're not falling behind early on, and they're staying close to the first stack, which Pulse has done.
A great job by Pulse Gaming setting the tone of this match with a 3-star. I believe it was an 84-second 3-star, so almost a minute and a half. Not the fastest opening 3-star we've seen all weekend, but this will give Dizzy a chance to take an early lead on time, but they're going to have to hit a very quick 3-star, and it looks like almost the exact same army we just saw. The Angry Jelly on the Barbarian King again, the Root Rider combo. I'm not sure if the last attacker brought this many skeleton spells, though.
No, I don't think that we have seen that many of them, but I'm surprised about the Giant Arrow from the Archer Queen, maybe just there to create that pathing of forcing those Root Riders from that bomb tower into the core and making sure that the air defense is not left standing. We have the Wizards pushing around the bottom side. The Skeleton Traps are perfectly distracting where the Royal Champ is pushing in as well.
It is an interesting thing to note, all the giant arrows we've been seeing this weekend. I think we pointed this out yesterday, but a lot of even the Root Rider attackers have been using the giant arrow this weekend, even though it seems like sometimes they're not getting much value out of it. Do you have a good idea of why they still prefer that giant arrow over something like a frozen arrow in that situation?
I mean, the only assumption I have is that they're going for pathing, so like taking down this one air defense, which is as a defense not relevant for the Root Riders, but is affecting their pathing, and we can see it was for sure worth it. He is celebrating with showing it off in the camera as well. really, really overpowering 3-star. But yeah, I feel like the giant arrow for the pros is just to make sure that they're somehow able to control those masses of troops at least a little bit better, because we know when you're trying to be fast, trying to like be a little bit more on the mass style attack side, things can be sometimes a little bit random, so they're trying to affect this randomness as much as possible in a positive way in their favor.
Yeah, and I guess if they're going for just pure speed and they expect the Root Riders to stay alive to crush through the entire base, if the Queen's not going to be critical at the very end, you know, you might not need the Frozen Arrow at all. So sometimes just a little bit of extra damage somewhere else can help if your only focus is pure speed.
Yeah, and especially with the bonus damage. I mean, all of the equipments have like the somewhat active or passive ability, but they're getting passive bonus stats. And I'm not sure with only the Frozen Arrow if that really means that you're overtaking some damage thresholds, which means you need less hits versus some defenses, some buildings. And if you don't need that, it's worthless. But we're seeing actually a fireball attack from Pulse Gaming. They have learned yesterday from the books of Navi, because they were coming in with those attacks as well with great success. The question now is, can they execute this attack as well as Kazuma did yesterday?
Oh, this is fun. Finally getting to see a little bit of an off-meta attack. Chihawa also had the giant arrow on the Queen going through the middle as well before dropping that overgrowth. The siege barracks troops, the 2 P.E.K.K.A.s on the right, snipe the town hall. The king taking the jump spell on the bottom side. Geez, you need like 8 different eyes to see everything that's going on here. Look at all those cleanup minions on the bottom side of the base.
And this is so crazy. If I see this correctly in the camera, he's even using a phone. I have no clue how he's controlling all of those different troops, but the last Inferno Tower should be overpowered. And this is one of the fastest attacks as well. If the last buildings are going down quickly, he's closing in on the dog next to the storage. Okay, around like the 1 minute 8 seconds, I believe, which is a really, really quick attack for sure. And that has been done with the fireball, making sure that he's getting that value. Great job. Really nice attack.
Awesome, fun rocket balloon fireball attack from Chihawa. The fastest attack so far in this match, just 1 second faster than the other attack from Dizzy, getting them right back in this. I think that brought their average down to about 116. So now the pressure right back onto Dizzy. Saga gonna have to think about what he's gonna do to help keep their lead on time. Is he just gonna bring the Root Riders again? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I think especially that they had a lot of faith in that base which just got destroyed, because that was actually the base which defended yesterday for them versus Momentum Shifters and has secured them the victory. This time around, falling in record speed, so they need to make sure that they hope for another defense maybe, or at least a slow attack somewhere. But that next attack is going to be dragons, and we see it more and more often that Electro Dragons are getting mixed in there just to like start cleanup or funneling early, like the Electro Dragon on the far right side. It's just there, making sure the attack is not having to worry about the back end, while the dragons are pushing in from the top left.
Yeah, we're seeing the double rage at the beginning with the dragons. Very common setup here with any sort of air spam strategy. The battle blimp making it all the way to the town hall, even with the tornado trap spinning it in circles, still able to get the Yetis to come out, destroy the town hall with the extra rage, and they're still getting bonus value. Spiky ball from the Barbarian King, wow, just goes through the middle of the base, all the way to the left side, sniping several defenses. And is that a jump spell for the King and Queen?
Yeah, nice to utilize, making sure they can reach everything. Can she even jump into that dead zone behind the air defense? I'm not even sure if she has to, but she could reach that air defense as well, which is quite nice. And yes, indeed, she's going there. Jumping now back, I'm not really sure. She could have reached that multi-arch tower, but it seems like she's redirecting, and the Electro Dragons and Dragons on the far left side went down. So this takes now a couple of seconds, but still a really solid attack.
Yeah, it was actually better for the Archer Queen to follow the King to the outside of the base there, because now she can just reach everything. And with her healer puppet, with the one Electro Dragon that you mentioned from earlier, staying alive for the entire attack, it's going to be a 3-star. But if we start looking at the time, this one slowed down quite a bit. It looked almost the same as Pulse's first attack, which means our averages should be just about even. Ooh, look at that, 1 second on average lead, switching over to the other team's favor now.
This means the current total time difference should be around 2 seconds, since we're talking about averages otherwise. So both teams are staying close, and Pulse is up next. They are having the really small lead for now. Are they going in with the Root Riders? But we have seen now from Na'Vi and from one of their players earlier that those fireball attacks can be incredible fast and really demolish those bases if utilized correctly. But I would assume it's not as easy to quickly come up with those plans. So the question is, did he have enough time, or is he just going in with a standard approach of either dragons or Root Riders?
This was something I was mentioning yesterday. I thought it was funny how a lot of these teams are just using Root Riders and Dragons for speed in this meta, but then you have players like Kazuma and Stars that'll use Fireballs and Lalo and Rocket Balloons and Bat Spells, and they're still finding ways to be even faster than all the Root Rider players. Do you think those attacks can consistently be faster, but they're just maybe harder to execute, harder to come up with those plans, which is why not as many teams are doing them?
Yeah, I would think so, and people maybe not used to it, or maybe they don't have those equipments on a decent level, because all of that is like having to be factored in there, I guess, in the decision making of what strategy to use. And we see again the Root Riders getting pushed in. People have those equipments for those troops, for those army compositions on a really solid level, while having the Archer Queen pushing around the top right side. We have the Super Hog Riders now from the Siege Barracks, where the Root Riders with that Royal Champion are in the core, wrecking that core really quickly.
The Overgrowth angled to the top side of the Town Hall allows the Royal Champion and the Root Riders to just go straight through the middle of the base, annihilating everything with most of those rage spells used early. He was able to save one rage spell, and we'll see how he's about to use it. The Archer Queen going to ability. Good thing she had the Invis Vial. That kept her alive through the Monolith, and she's gonna be able to do a little bit of extra damage. The final rage spell is in. The Royal Champion goes down, but the Queen and a lot of other units able to finish off the base, and it's another 3-star for Pulse Gaming.
Yeah, getting that 3-star in for them. The average time got even decreased with this one, 1 minute and 13 seconds as well. A really fast attack. I think it's for sure below the average of this weekend's average time. This means it's back to Dizzy, and they would need to go in even faster to stay close, or even take the lead back after 3 attacks each from both teams.
Right, so a minute 13 plus or minus 2 seconds, and I can't remember in which direction is the time Dizzy wants to beat here, and we'll see if they can get it done. Another Angry Jelly on the Barbarian King. It is fun to see, and Dizzy, just like yesterday, they're really favoring the Frosties on the Queen. Have other teams this weekend been doing that as well? You mentioned that a lot of pros seem to be switching.
Yeah, I mean, more and more people like to have not really investing that much funneling, I guess, into the King, and having as well like this quick push there should work quite well, I guess. But we have the Root Riders kind of spreading a little bit, now regrouping around the Inferno Tower, while the Queen is pushing into this far left side with her equipment. And the Royal Champ, though, with no ability left, is actually going down early.
Yeah, the Royal Champion dying early could be critical here. A lot of these attacks rely heavily on that Royal Champion to finish things off on the back end of the base, and even if she doesn't have to get everything, her staying alive to the end of the attack definitely helps with speed, as she is the fastest hero in the lineup. This might slow things down like crazy. The Root Rider is opening all the walls in the core, so Queen has access to a lot of stuff, but as the Overgrowth expires, things are getting a little awkward. Everybody's splitting in different directions. The super minions from the Siege Barracks sitting inside of a poison tower. The Queen going for the enemy Queen, finally back for the Town Hall. It's looking a little chaotic.
It is looking really chaotic, and the problem is the Monolith is staying alive for now, out of range of that Archer Queen. She cannot really reach that. Can that super minion take her down? No, the Wizard may... Yes, actually! Yes. The minion taking that Monolith down, saving him not only the 3-star, but as well the time, which is massive for him currently, because it was already one of the slower attacks. But with that defense going down, he is getting that 3-star in an acceptable time.
That last super minion taking out the Monolith, so critical. If that didn't happen and the other super barbarian died, I was a little worried. I think the Queen would have just ended up having to beat on a wall, and there's a good chance the Warden would just go for the wall as well. It could have been really, really bad. That super minion was clutch with 1 HP.
Yeah, getting that super minion in there, surviving everything. No air traps found either, making sure that they're getting that 3-star. But we're now back to pulls, and they're so far on a roll. Really quick 3-star attacks are coming in from them, and Lincoln is trying to get another one on the board for them now.
Let's see what Lincoln can bring in. Root Riders again, the Angry Jelly on the Barbarian King, and 1 skeleton spell. We'll see if he has a unique twist to the way he's deploying it here. We've seen a couple of bases. I don't know if they've all been from Dizzy, but this solo monolith island type section, I've seen it a bunch this weekend. Is that just the current meta? Is that what everybody's loving to do with their monoliths?
Yeah, just like such a heavy hitting defense, making sure that you can put that isolated because of the range being quite decent as well, which means if those Root Riders getting not those compartments open towards it, we have just seen it in the last attack. If that one super minion would have not taken it down, it could have caused a lot of problems on the back end. So it's like a really high reward thing if your troops are not pathing into that direction. Now the overgrowth spell around the town, making sure that there's less damage on that queen and on the Royal Champ as well.
The Royal Champion was used to try to go between the Root Riders and the Queen. The pathing a little interesting here, though. The Queen and the Champion are meeting up, and they're both in big trouble. Ooh, one more Giant Bomb. The Champion's going to have to go to ability early. The Queen might just barely stay alive. It looks like she will, but we will not have the Champion ability for later. Another Giant Bomb. The Town Hall waking up. Both the Archer Queen and the Royal Champion go down, and this is going to be a little tricky on the back end, but he does have a few more spells to save him.
Yeah, but are those spells enough to take down not only the Town Hall, but as well the last defenses? The Rage is there. The Tornado Trap, though, in the perfect position to delay things even further. But there's too many hit points on those troops remaining. We had the Rage making sure that Town Hall going down, and this is still going to be that 3-star, but as well around the 1 minute 30 second mark, which should increase their average time again. And this means both teams should be really close. Let's take a look. What is going to be the average time after this? 1:20 to 1 minute and 22 seconds. So really close current position.
It is funny how that happens when one team has a fast attack, then all of a sudden the other team comes in with a fast attack, and when the next team has a slip up or a slightly slower attack, the other team follows in the same way, and we are almost at a perfect tie, just 2 seconds on average difference. We'll have to see if that changes here in the last couple rounds of attacks.
Yeah, and well, the question is now in which team does feel pressured, maybe too much, to go faster and faster. And this is then the moment we have seen in the past some of those fails happening, and that can really then cost them the entire match. It's Root Riders again. It's again the Giant Arrow, which somehow is turning out to be one of the most used equipments currently for those Root Riders to create that pathing. Let's see, where is he going to use it? King, and from the top side, Giant Arrow. What has he gone for? Maybe I think it was the one sweeper, which should allow those Root Riders to get pushed into the core without getting distracted towards the outside. That would be my assumption here.
Yeah, I guess it might help out as long as they get that expo in time on the outside, and they do. The rest of the Root Riders should path to the core. The Barbarian King with the jump spell is going to clean up the top section, so the Root Riders have nowhere to go but straight to the middle to get everything not in the overgrowth spell. The Tornado Trap spinning everybody in circles there in the middle of the base for a little bit, but with the Healing Tome from the Grand Warden helping everybody out, keeping everybody alive, we are A-okay. Spirit Fox getting back up to full health. Super Hog Riders again out of the Siege Barracks, helping on the bottom side of the base. We do have a skeleton spell for the back end, start distracting this Tesla farm, and as the overgrowth expires, is this one P.E.K.K.A going to be able to solo the Town Hall?
Does he want to raise that P.E.K.K.A up? No, I think he's just saying, okay, that P.E.K.K.A should got it anyways. Troops are getting towards the town hall, taking it out with the P.E.K.K.A together, and this means this base is just done. A faster attack than what we have seen from the other teams, but is it enough to get their average below what pools have? Currently, it's 1 minute 22 seconds after the attack. What? No. No way. They're tied up. I think there's maybe a few seconds difference. I guess production, or more specific, Woody will tell us in just a second. But this match is just so close currently.
The average is calculated as a tie, which means the overall time has to be less than 4 seconds. It would have to be 3 or less. I would think 2 or less, or else it would round up to a different number. So that is crazy. We were talking earlier. Yesterday we had a match finish with just 1 second average difference. And what if we get even closer finish here? What if they actually have the same total time?
Currently, Pulse Gaming is 2 seconds ahead, so currently they would win this match. But they are in now, and this is now the last 2 attacks. Last attack each for those teams, which means this is the moment where mistakes can happen. A lot of those Valkyries, take a look at that, Lex. All those Valkyries going around the right side and not into the base. Those Root Riders are not dealing a lot of damage. Remember that with the nerf.
The Barbarian King just getting distracted on the Ice Golems on the outside. He's not in the base. He's not tanking. He's not clearing out a big section. He already used a Spiky Ball early, and it didn't hit that many defenses either. Luckily, these Root Riders are still healthy. They have a couple of Valkyries with them, and the Royal Champion cleaning up the right side of the base. This still has a good shot. The Overgrowth over the Town Hall, over these defense on the left side, going to expire in a few seconds. The Queen, very healthy with an ability, and he's able to save a few spells for the middle section as this Overgrowth expires.
Great freeze timing, making sure everything in the core has no chance of firing back. The multi-fire towers getting frozen as well, and those troops are pushing into the last couple of defenses. The outside buildings are going down as well, and maybe it wasn't even that bad in a miracle way that the Valkyries went around the outside, because this meant that all of those outside buildings were gone, and this attack is even improving their average time, which means Dizzy has to get a 1 minute and 10 second attack to tie, and everything better. A 3-star with 1 minute and 9 seconds, for example, it would be a win. And Melly is that player to somehow get the job done.
All the pressure on Melly. We talked about him yesterday as the closer, usually for Dizzy. He's been in this position many times in the past. He's gotten it done for his team many times in the past, but this is his big moment. He has to rise to the occasion. He needs a 69-second triple or better for the win, and he's bringing the dragons, the giant arrow, 2 earthquake spells to go with it.
2 earthquakes with the giant arrow typically means that he's going for the spell towers maybe, or 1 spell tower, or he's combining something with the, I don't know, with that Electro Dragon itself. An early Black Mine found on the far left side. Where are those earthquakes now getting utilized? What do you think?
It's hard to tell. I mean, maybe he's just going to be using it to help the Royal Champion, maybe to help with the Spiky Ball. Did he have a Spiky Ball? I didn't see. There's a jump spell over on the right. Tornado Trap hitting the Battle Blimp. We should be able to easily clear the core. Ice Golems are going to get pulled out of the defensive Clan Castle, which could slow him down a little bit more. There's the Royal Champion on the upper side of the base. He needs to go faster. He doesn't have much more time to work with. Spiky Ball is in, and he does pair the Earthquakes with the Spiky Ball, but the Spiky Ball was just on the outside. It didn't go in for the Monolith.
Oh no, the Queen going down as well. Now the Barbarian King redirecting, not going for the core. There is the rage, making sure that he's getting those dragons raged up. But the buildings are not going down so far. The Monolith is now finally going down, but he already crossed the 1 minute mark. It's going to be the 3-star, but it seems like he's not fast enough. He has crossed the 1 minute and 10 second mark, and this means it is a close match, but Pulse is pulling ahead with just a couple of seconds in this elimination match.
Wow, big congratulations to Pulse. Poor Melly, his Archer Queen behind the King, died somewhat early, and I can't help but feel like if she stayed alive, that would have helped so much with the cleanup time, and it would have been so close if that Archer Queen stayed alive.
Yeah, and I felt like he was as well surprised by the Tesla around that Monolith, because the only thing I could think of is that he tried to combine the earthquakes with the Spiky Ball damage. At least that would be my assumption there, because he did not combine it with the giant arrow, did not go for anything specific in the core. Maybe it would have been better for him to like spread them out, but the most important thing, you said it, was the Archer Queen going down and the missing damage then on the back end.
Yeah, who knows exactly how many seconds that could have saved him if the Archer Queen was still alive behind the king, helping the king fight the enemy king, and then helping to go for the storage ahead of him. But still, nonetheless, a great try, a good effort. It's still a 3-star. I mean, how can we talk bad about a 3-star? That was 1 minute and 20 seconds, but wow, what a match. 15-15, and unfortunately, we do have to say goodbye to one of these teams, and Dizzy with just the slightly slower attacks all around, and it is going to be Pulse Gaming moving on through as we watch some of their highlights here.
Yeah, and was it so far that all the lightest elimination matches were perfect? Were in the upper bracket. We have not seen a single 15-15 score so far. I think it was something crazy like that as well yesterday, right?
Were both of the elimination matches yesterday 15-15? I know the last one was for sure. I can't remember if the one before that had a fail or not. But if it wasn't perfect, it was maybe just one fail, and that was I think it was 14.
Okay, so 14-14. Production just told us. But we will take a look at the bracket in just a second as well to see what exactly is going on with all of those scores, while we're going through the highlights of those matches. And that's where I'm looking forward to see who was the MVP player. I think if I would guess, the player with the fireball, the quickest attack, 1 minute and 8 seconds of Shihawa. That attack looked just really, really impressive.
It was very impressive, and I think it came right after the other team had that minute and 9, or maybe it was just an extra round of attacks after that. But it was really fun to see in this match for the majority of the duration of the match. Whenever one team hit a fast 3-star, the other team would have an almost just as fast 3-star, and then when one team had a slow attack, the other team would come in with a slow attack right after. It's fun to see that pattern.
Yeah, it was always back and forth. Both teams did amazing. And in the end, it was like a 1 minute 36 second attack or something, which was the slowest and had as well a lot of impact on the match. But Woody, you went with the Dizzy. What do you think was the problem in the end?
The problem is that the current metagame is just so offensively oriented that there is no way to get a decisive win except to go all the way to the end on time. The base builders for both of these teams did an extraordinary job. The attackers did everything they possibly could to tear these bases apart. And with a perfect v perfect war once again being the decisive factor for elimination, it is going to be a bittersweet victory for Pulse Gaming. They are moving on. Sad commiserations to Dizzy X and Izos, which is now eliminated and without a ticket in their name, are going to have to sit back and watch. But Pulse Gaming will go on. We can congratulate their base builders in particular for having some extraordinarily difficult nuts to crack for their opponents. They're going to be sitting in the lower finals, waiting for the losers of Navi versus Marcos Esports to advance. The loser will drop down to face off against Pulse Gaming. It was an incredibly tight war, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how the lower finals shakes up. If it's going to be another one of these perfect v perfect matches, or if we do see one team slip up.
It is fun to look at the bracket here, and just to make sure everybody at home realizes this is double elimination, and this next matchup, Navi versus Marcos Esports, is still in the upper bracket. So whoever loses this match, they're not out. They're not out, and we're going to get to watch them right away again in the following match. And whoever wins this, moving on to the grand finals, guaranteeing themselves a spot in the top 2. And look at these stats here, Itsu.
Those stats are looking incredible and impressive. Marcos Esports a little bit higher on the average destruction, but on the other side, Navi a little bit higher with their 3-star rate. But at this point, I feel like it's all coming down to the nerfs. And if there is a team out there which has shown over many years that they can control all the pressure, it has to be Navi. They were looking incredibly strong in their match yesterday. The question is, can they repeat that performance today with bringing fireball attacks, bringing creative approaches as well, and speeding those attacks up by quite a lot?
Yeah, Na'Vi is a team that you do not want to mess with. They do not give up any ground at all. Famously, they won their World Championship match, coming from the lower bracket and getting a bracket reset against Tribe. This is also a team that has been in the World Championship finals 3 times. This is probably the highest awarded team in all of Clash of Clans esports, however you really want to cut it. And it's a team that already earned a golden ticket earlier this year that got downgraded to silver ticket. But nonetheless, we are seeing some extraordinary results coming out of Na'Vi so far this month, and certainly would expect to see them once again perform incredibly well in this upper bracket finals.
It's going to be fun to watch them for sure. They're definitely a fan favorite. As you mentioned, they've gone all the way to the grand finals of the World Championship 3 times. And that one year that they weren't in the grand finals, they still made it to the World Championship. So one of the only teams that is just consistently there every single year. But their opponents, Marcos Esports here, also another big favorite in the community. They've been doing a lot of damage these last couple of months.
Yeah, and I think, do we still have time to take a look at the predictions? Because as well, I want to see after our prediction what the community prediction says like, because yesterday we have seen some incredible numbers there. But for the match number 8, our predictions are, well, let's put it this way, somewhat one-sided. But I can understand that after the performance of Na'Vi yesterday. What would you say there, Woody?
Yeah, I certainly think that that's what the community prediction would be. We're not quite sure if that's going to come in yet. We had a little bit of a technical hiccup on the Clash of Clans esports event website, but nonetheless, you can see it's unanimous across the board among the forecasters. Na'Vi is definitely the team expected to pick up the next win. They are the favorites by far, having won a world championship a couple of years ago, and having been in the finals multiple times. They've made it to the end of a World Championship qualifier already. They're holding a silver ticket. So even if they lose, they would get down to the lower bracket. And even if they lose there, they would still have the last chance qualifier position. So this is a team that doesn't even break a sweat in a moment like this. This is like easy pickings for them. Whereas Marcos is the David in this Goliath scenario. They have got to play it perfectly. They have got to keep their heads on straight. They've got to do everything that brought them to this moment and then some. Past is going to be not enough to overcome this next giant ahead of them, Lexnos.
Yes, indeed. I think this match is going to be all about Marcos Esports, and if they can come out swinging hard. Of course, there's still the chance that Na'Vi slip up, but I think most people are not expecting that, so this needs to be one of those matches for Marcos where they come out hot with some good fast attacks early, and they just keep that momentum going and hit another perfect war like I think they did in their second match yesterday.
Yeah, I think so too. And as you said it as well, I feel like the beginning of those matches nowadays are just so important that you have your first 2, or maybe even, depending on your opponent, first 3 attacks in a really quick fashion, that you can put up this pressure that the other teams then is forced into even faster attacks and faster attacks. And this is then what we have seen a lot of fails, especially with the overgrowth spell, resulting sometimes even then the 1-stars. We have talked about it. Might have even seen more 1-stars than 2-stars so far in those matches, which means there is always this potential of messing up when you have to go faster and beyond. And well, that is the question for those 2 teams, to make sure the beginning really matters.
Even better than getting a perfect war in their second match yesterday, they actually had 1 match yesterday. So they had a perfect war in their only match. They've only had to fight 1 battle so far. And on top of that, the defense that they scored was a 1-star defense against Pulse Gaming. So they have perfect offense. They have perfect defense. There's no team that's better positioned to get a golden ticket right now than Na'Vi. It's kind of hard to overstate how far ahead they are. And yet, let's give Marcos a chance too, right? They also scored a perfect war yesterday. Maybe that was the team that you were referring to. They got a perfect war yesterday. Momentum Shifters also scored a 13-star war against them with a 1-star hit against Marcos Esports. So you know that they've got some strong bases too. They have all of the hopes of such a large community riding on their shoulders, and this is going to be their last opportunity to make it happen. They're going to put everything on the line and give it their all. Lexnos, I'm going to be casting this upcoming match with you. What are you looking forward to most about this next one?
I'm looking forward to seeing some fun attacks, of course, from Na'Vi. They're so well known for using the fireball, for using the giant arrow, rocket balloons, doing some off-meta stuff that we don't see. But not only do they do that and accomplish 3 stars with those strategies, they find a way to do it faster than all the other players that are doing Root Rider attacks, that are doing dragon attacks. Not only can they use this off-meta stuff, but they just make it look so fast.
Yeah, quick hitters, fancy footwork, but they also know when to just dial it back and go in for the solid, reliable 3-star strikes to finish out a war. We saw that yesterday with Klaus. We were expecting him to show off some, exciting moves, some interesting strats, and he just kind of did a walkover 3-star performance in fine time. Nothing really to, criticize there. That's just the consistency and the level-headedness that we've come to expect from Na'Vi. They did it again yesterday and expect to see the same from them again today. Christian Don firing off a giant arrow right into the core of the base, taking down a few defenses there and providing some additional funneling once again for this ground-based Root Rider army. 7 Valkyries going to be supporting them up on the top left side as the Barbarian King comes through to smash off a few more buildings.
It is fun to see the 1 Electro Drag being paired with the Root Rider attack here. I think Itsu mentioned this earlier. A lot of players are starting to do that now. You bring 1 E-Drag for the funneling, for some of the cleanup, but also now very interesting to note that he has not placed it. Usually that would be placed pretty early, so I wonder if he just completely forgot about it.
Christian also used a skeleton spell to try to distract the enemy royal champion and send in a sneaky headhunter to take her down, but the RC got a shot in against the headhunter and it left her with quite a bit of hit points. That took his own offensive royal champion really far down into the red hit points now. You see she might go down before the end of it. Still, it looks like this is going to be a 3-star, just a little bit slower than Christian may have wanted. We're passing now that 1-minute mark and there's still 13% of the base left. He's going to have to go in against the core with Root Riders as the main force, but raged up, they should be able to finish it off in around that 1-minute and 25-second mark.
Yes, he will be able to overpower this base. So many units alive. You can see the super minions out of the siege barracks on the upper side. Queen luckily able to wrap back around, take out the storage, and it looks like it's going to be about an 87-second attack. So nicely done from Marcos Esports to open up the war with a 3-star, but I can't help but feel like, will this actually help their confidence, or are they going to feel like that was too slow without even knowing what Na'Vi are going to be able to do next?
I do think it's going to be too slow. I mean, relative to Navi's performance yesterday, relative to the teams that we just saw competing already, and especially given the fact that a lot of times teams will allow the players that are most confident that they can get a quick strike against the base that doesn't require a whole lot of planning to go first. So if that was the quickest that Marcos Esports can do, they are going to have to do better from the lower bracket and make a comeback happen, because we really need to see attacks sub 80 seconds if we want to get a solid shot at winning against Na'Vi. Let's see how Gaku does next, if he's able to keep pace and improve upon that 1-minute and 27-second time that we would expect to see him do. Early pop of that Queen ability is going to be Healer Puppet, but I didn't see any giant arrow come out there, so I guess she's got the freezing arrow this time, Lex.
Yeah, the frozen arrow, one of my favorite equipments, but it does not seem to be super popular amongst these pros who are trying to go for pure speed. Spiky ball from the Barbarian King, able to do a lot of damage there. He was supposed to take the jump spell to the core. Some of these clan castle troops are distracting him though, but as we quickly get through them with the Valkyries, I think King will still path to the core just fine. Although with the Root Riders opening all those walls, the jump spell kind of not needed after all.
Yeah, good point there. With the overgrowth down as well, that is going to be shutting down a lot of the big defenses in the core. Na'Vi Gaku is going to be wrapping around the top left side. Counterclockwise with those Root Riders, while that Archer Queen is still doing fantastic work over on the right side corner. She's got healers and that frozen arrow to help her out, and she has really gone the distance, needed no help whatsoever. One of the rare times that we do see a Queen walk get some effective value here. She's just fire and forget with her current equipment loadout, and this is going to be an improvement on time. We're crossing that 70-second threshold, and it's just going to be a few more seconds past that for Gaku to score his own 3-star with a time advantage over Marcos. Exactly how much it was, I'm not quite sure. It looked like about a 14-second advantage for Na'Vi.
14-second lead. Gaku able to get it done. 73 seconds. Very well executed. That's going to be able to set the pace for the rest of the match, because now Marcos see that and their next attacker is already thinking, crap, not only do I have to try to get 113, I gotta try to get faster than that because the guy before me, I gotta bring the average down just to try to match 113.
Right. Not only does he have to do well, but he has to improve. Either that or hope beyond hope that there's some sort of, glitch in the Marcos base that really throws off a Na'Vi attacker later on, but you don't want to have to be in that spot. Amar Gupta, however, got an MVP pick from Marcos Esports yesterday. He is one of their most solid attackers. If there's anyone that's going to get them back into the win column with a quick strike, it could be Amar Gupta.
Yes,
Going
indeed.
up against the base from Yata next, Lexnos.
I've been seeing Amar play for quite a long time. He's able to get it done time and time again. Let's see if he's going to be able to be fast enough today. We'll have to wait and see what exactly he brings out against Yata's base. I do think it's interesting to note all the different designs, the base building, how the meta has changed, even just over the last couple of weeks and months, even with, no new big introductions changing the meta. It just evolves over time naturally as certain teams get better and better at certain strategies. I think Itsu and I were talking about the monoliths in the previous war, but on this base, we're not seeing that solo monolith compartment.
Yeah, he's going for an Inferno Dragon out the right side for Funnel. He's got Dragon Riders, 3 of them this time. Not a completely off-meta pick here, but he's also got 10 balloons. Strong balloon complement for these Dragons out in front, and with the Dragon Riders focusing solely on defenses, he has certainly picked apart this base in his mind and knows exactly what he aims to do with it. Battle Blimp is going straight for the Town Hall to get the first star down. Enemy RC distracted and unable to get any damage off without Eternal Tome was protecting it. First star is claimed, and he is really penetrating this base hard early on, Lex.
The Yeti bomb for the Town Hall, and take note of the Clan Castle building positioning just far away enough that he was actually able to use Yetis in the blimp, and it did not pull Ice Golems out of the Clan Castle, so that's a huge bonus for Amar. I think it was only 2 Headhunters and a couple Archers that came out, so likely still some Ice Golems in there. Hopefully these Dragons can take out the CC building. Oh, they might not actually. Well, hold on. Hold on.
Give it a
Down
shot.
it goes.
They did it.
The Ice Golem's never going to come out, and that's a huge bonus. Gonna help him with time.
Big pickup there, although he did so quite a few black bombs right there in the core. Those poor Dragons were just taking a beating. It does lose a little bit of time, so it definitely makes up for the CC Golems being missed, but still, overall, not a rapid fast attack. Just about 1 minute and 23 will slightly bring down the overall average attack time for Marcos. But that was just a heads up play. That was solid, good clashing. Amar Gupta gave us a very reliable performance for Marcos Esports. The only thing I got to say, though, is that solid and reliable is not a championship set of adjectives when you're going up against Na'Vi, a world champion themselves, and already doing very well with their first attack here so far this war. Amar Gupta slightly closing that gap, but the door is still wide open for Na'Vi to just slam them in the lower bracket.
Yeah, it looked like he had placed the Roa champion kind of late. She was only in for like the last 15-ish seconds of the attack, but I think he was doing that on purpose. He didn't want to drop her until the Clan Castle building went down, or else those Ice Golems would have come out, and that might have costed him an extra 10 or 15 seconds in the end. So even though it looked a little wonky not dropping the champions until so late, I think it was actually a good play. It might have been beneficial in the end.
Yeah, really interesting point there, and he scored certainly a few seconds by counterfeiting that Clan Castle and denying the Ice Golem deploy, but it seems like you not only have to have like 1 or 2 really good second shading opportunities, but really a lot of different ways to shut down a base. And as much time as he saved with the Ice Golems not popping out, he might have lost that much time by delaying the drop of his heroes. So a bit of a toss-up overall, a solid strike. But yeah, like we said, Na'Vi is certainly still expected to be able to go toe-to-toe with what we've seen so far from Marcos Esports, and it's all up to their second attacker to try to get another hit on the board in good time. Anything short of 1 minute and 37, Na'Vi is going to be able to keep the lead.
It'll be very interesting to see what attack strategy Na'Vi choose to come in with next. I feel like Kazuma often going in this 2 spot, although they do shift it around from time to time. Sometimes he'll go third. Yeah, it looks like Yata's gonna go second today, maybe Kazuma next. We'll have to see what Yada brings. He is the newest member on this team, just joining them for the last couple months, and he's just going with the old reliable, the Root Riders, the Valkyries, the one giant arrow, which looks like it's only getting some outside trash buildings.
Yeah, and a lot of times the new players that get brought onto these lineups can be superstars in their own right. Whenever there's an opening in a lineup, they only want to give it to the best possible player that they can, and that they can command an extraordinarily high level of talent as former world champions. Yata wants to earn that distinction for himself and knocking apart the enemy RC with a king jumping through to get right into the core of the base. He is going to be doing some massive damage. Can't kick those super minions flying high in the sky, and that is going to be a little bit sad for him, but he'll find another way to take those down as the main army marches into the core now. Root Riders are smashing through walls and should be able to take out these two multis before too long.
This one scatter shot that the king skipped with the jump spell, that scatter shot might just snipe all the healers from the healer puppet, and it does. Oh, it could be a little awkward. He's trying to sneak in some extra super barbs to go take out that scatter shot. That might actually work if the overgrowth stays in there for a few more seconds. He still has so much firepower, though. Look at that Root Rider, Hog Rider puppet push on the upper side of the base. Jeez, how does he keep all these troops alive for so long?
Incredible showing from Yada, and we are just going to be sub 80 seconds, just barely. Oh no, it's right at 80 seconds. That is going to be another 3-star pickup for Na'Vi, and will keep their total time below Marcos Esports with a 9-second average advantage. That's going to be 18 seconds minimum on the overall difference between these two teams, and Yata has given us another clear and confident performance to keep them in the lead.
Great job from Yada, just with the old reliable Root Rider attacks, going second, maybe giving some of his other teammates a little bit more time to plan out their more detailed attack strategies. Kazuma very consistently not using the Root Riders lately. He's been going with those fun rocket balloon fireball type attacks. Probably would expect that from him again today. Of course, it's not guaranteed, and we'll see what Stars and Klaus can come up with.
Well, Na'Vi have at least one more war after this one, so I'm sure we're going to get some opportunities to see fireworks fly one way or another. But Marcos Esports are keeping their heads above water. They are toe-to-toe right now with Na'Vi, behind on time, but still even on Stars. They've got to attack first, though, and I feel like I'm the caster that hypes this fact up the most. It seems like such a disadvantage for me to have to go first, because you get 3 minutes less prep time on every single wave of your attacks, and then the defending team knows exactly what they have to do to clinch a win. So Marco's still in a terrifying position to have to overcome that positioning disadvantage, and knows that Na'Vi are just going to be sitting, waiting in the shadows for their opportunity to strike.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like a double whammy, and I can remember from my time playing on a bunch of pro teams, sometimes some people do enjoy going first. Some of the players that attack first, they just want to get it out of the way. But a lot of the times, the second half of your roster, they really don't like going first. They would rather be second, because not only do you just straight up get an extra 3 minutes to plan your attack, but you also already know what the opponent did, and then you can just try to counter it or just beat exactly what they got. You know whether or not they 3-starred, you know the exact time you have to beat. There's just so much information that you gain, and it affects everything you do psychologically.
Still an advantage for Na'Vi, not yet a decisive one. We'll give Mr. Adil a chance to move in next. He's got 6 Root Riders, gonna be backing them up with an Apprentice Warden, Siege Barracks. He's got that Angry Jelly on the King to get him targeting enemy defenses, and I've noticed a switch in favor of the Poison Lizard for that Grand Warden. Does great work at shutting down enemy heroes, and if the CC pops out with any opportunity to get some extra value there, I'm sure he's happy to take it. But backing up those Root Riders who cannot target enemy heroes until they've taken down all the buildings, they sure are going to be happy to have that support. Archer Queen right alongside on the right side corner there, providing additional funneling, and the King has already hopped into the core with a rage spell activated on defense to try to get some work done. It's already going to be an Eternal Tome to protect most of the troops in that core as they demolish these buildings left and right, Lex.
It is so fun to see the Angry Jelly on the Barbarian King used like this, where they don't even have to funnel the King. They just drop him and he just walks straight inside the base. Going and getting some clear value is awesome. We got the Overgrowth on the Town Hall. on the monolith and everything to the left of them, just using a couple of rage spells here and there to melt through the core of the base. Over on the bottom, we got a couple of headhunters already taking out the king, and the queen working by herself on the right side. And with 2 spells left over, I think he's looking pretty good here to pick up yet another 3-star.
Oh yeah, this has got to be a triple, and I love some of the tech choices from Mr. Adil here. He used a Valkyrie right in front of the queen to protect her from that single target Inferno in that bottom compartment. That saved up another spell space and got him to the victory line with another few seconds in his favor. This was a very technically proficient attack, and maybe my favorite one so far from Marcos Esports, and yet the time is not going to be enough to get them in the win column. 1:22 is a solid strike against almost any team in this month's competition, but not against Na'Vi. They are still going to be ahead and unable to break that 1:20 barrier on any of their 3 attacks. Meanwhile, Na'Vi, both of their attacks so far have been 80 seconds or less.
So far, very clean, very powerful attacks from Marcos Gaming, but as you mentioned, right now, until somebody slips up, this is all about speed. Speed is what matters, and so they're either going to have to cross their fingers and hope for a slip up from Na'Vi, or their last 2 attackers are going to have to change the game plan, adjust, do one of those even more risky attacks, trying to hit those 60-second triples.
And that is what we said before this war started was going to be a negative factor for Marcos. Na'Vi can sit back, relax. They are in an advantageous spot where they can see the attacks from Marcos first, but also they already have that silver ticket. They have an opportunity to fight back from the lower bracket if they have to. There is just no pressure at all on Na'Vi. This is just like a cakewalk for them. This is what they do all the time. They are so experienced at taking really tough matches like this and just converting them to wins because they force their opponents into that really awkward position of having to put it all out there, trying to risk it all to get a really quick, maybe 10 seconds shaved off of their attack, but not even that would be enough to get a pickup over Na'Vi at this point. So going into the mid-war, still really expect Na'Vi to be in that strong position where they're just putting up those solid 3-star showings in 80 seconds thereabouts. That'll keep them ahead of Marcos, and we really have to still see a big turnaround later in the war for Marcos to get an opportunity to eke out a victory. Na'Vi Kazuma, the next to attack, maybe the most creative player on this lineup that we saw from the attacks yesterday. Looking forward to seeing if he's bringing back that big fireball for the Grand Warden, or if it's going to be more standard play against this base built by MWC. We'll get a chance to take a look at it next. Lex knows.
Indeed, if he is coming in with one of those crazy fireball rocket balloon attacks, it will of course be very entertaining, very fun to watch, but also feel like they are slightly riskier. And look at this, he is indeed. I see the 20 rocket balloons, I see the giant arrow, I see the fireball, the 3 lightnings, the 2 earthquakes. He's gotten something fun in store for us here today. You gotta keep an eye out for this giant arrow, for this fireball. Where do you think he's gonna be using them?
Invis spells all over the bottom side of the base to give an easy access directly onto that multi-inferno, and it is a destruction derby for Kazuma. What an entry point to just sacrifice 3 spells to get that easy lock. Now he does find a Tesla farm in the bottom side. It looks like he's going to have a little tech option there with the rocket loons to be able to take that out, but that was a little bit of a surprise for him. He might have to pivot off later to do something else about that last Tesla because the Wizard is not going to be enough to take it out. Kazuma along the top side is going to find some more targets with those rocket loons to take down, and this base is getting carved up. He is making it look like a roast ham on Christmas morning, Lex.
Kazuma the octopus. He's got to have 8 hands to be able to click all around the map like this and deploy troops from every single angle all at once. I think his giant arrow did miss the monolith, but he's still got so much value with the fireball, the giant arrow. As his heroes are dying, we don't even have enough time to say everything that's going on because the base is already deleted. Unfortunately, the cleanup starts to slow down a little bit here, but geez, what was that, 72-ish seconds? Still a super fast attack from Kazuma with the fun equipments, with the rocket balloons, and it is going to keep Na'Vi in the lead.
Mom, get the camera. He even had another swag invisibility spell that he didn't deploy. the most creative and still one of the quickest attacking players on the... I mean, that was the fastest attack that we've seen so far this war, and the most creative one. Easy. I mean, superlative in many different ways. Kazuma is certainly an MVP contender, not just for this war or this month, but maybe even if they make the qualification for this world championship.
Indeed, Kazuma recently has just been one of the most consistent players on this team, and it just baffles me how he's able to do it without just using the meta armies either. He goes away from the meta. He does stuff that, how do you even build against? Because it doesn't matter how you build your base, he's going to find some crazy way to get that fireball in there. Even if you try to place your defenses in certain ways to stop it, he'll just drop an invis spell on those defenses and get that fireball where he wants it anyway. There's no way to stop this guy.
Yeah, an invis spell, or 2, or 3. It's like he has infinite ammo glitch activated for the game. He like does not have any shortage of spell capacity, of hero equipment. He can do anything. The man is a beast and cannot be stopped. Please, someone call an ambulance.
And like
because
said,
it looks like Marcos Esports is just bleeding out on the table right now.
He even had that extra invis spell left over in case there was something else, a Tesla farm that popped up and he had to change on the fly. He's got an extra invis, no worries. But now we get to see Marcos Esports reaction, their response against Kazuma's base. This is going to be a fun one. I think this is do or die time. I'm not sure if Marcos can just cross their fingers and hope for a defense from Na'Vi at this rate. Na'Vi are locked in, and I would be very surprised if they miss. Marcos, if they want to win in the upper bracket here, they got to do something risky. They got to seriously go for a 60-second attack here.
Well, let's see if that's what they choose to go with. So far, the total is a 27-second advantage in Navi's favor. Almost impossible to make up a gap that large in the late war. MWC starting off with a golem in the bottom compartment to block for this archer queen. Interesting tech choice and very solid and reliable. But again, that is not going to be the speed that we're looking for. Whenever you're committing that much housing space to just blocking shots, you've really got to have a good identification for the base to make sure that that is valuable. Does miss the Grand Warden on that last freeze spell. MWC still marching into that top compartment with a jump spell added on top to help out those Valks on the top side, and the King to get into that center compartment as well, Lex.
There's a delayed overgrowth on the town hall, on everything to the left of it. We're getting closer and closer to that 60-second mark, but now that everybody's grouping up, we can drop another rage spell through the middle section. They will plow through all that stuff pretty quickly, but the one thing I don't like is that's his last spell, and using all your spells early like that does often result in the cleanup, the final part of the attack slowing down a ton. And here it is. We got to go all the way back for the town hall. Not a single freeze, not a single rage to get us through it.
Well, it's a victory march for these troops. It's a 3-star for sure, and doing well on time, but still it's above that minute and 20-second mark. That is the crucial point that all of these Clash of Clans World Championship caliber players are expected to be able to hit if they want to win a tie-based tiebreaker. And so that is not going to be enough to put Marcos back in the lead. They have got a 4-for-4 perfect hit rate so far, but perfect is not good enough against a monster, an otherworldly phenomenon. Na'Vi is just a singular force in Clash of Clans Esports right now, and it doesn't seem that there's any team that can stop them this month, Lex.
They are very strong. They are locked in. They've been grinding all month, just winning every single match. I mean, they're a fan favorite for a reason, and they are showing it right now, but the pressure's still on. They still got 2 more attackers that have to come in clutch here and make sure that they don't slip up. Stars and Klaus, 2 of the most famous attackers in the world. We'll have to see what they bring to the table here. I think Klaus yesterday was just going with some safe attacks. You kind of hinted at that before. Sometimes when there's no need to risk anything and he's going last, you just do that safe attack, even if it's going to just be, you know, a minute 20, minute 30 attack with some root riders. That might be what he's doing, but it's going to be interesting to see what Stars is bringing, because he's kind of the wild card for Na'Vi in this meta. I feel like I never know what he's going to bring anymore. He used to be so famous, so world renowned for his Lalo, but these days he mixes it up quite a bit.
And you know what? I bet that's exactly what he likes. He wants his opponents to not be able to design bases that can try to trip him up. If he can do anything, then all of his other teammates get to pick their preferred bases as well. He may not be putting on those fireworks shows. He may not be, the beauty pageant queen, but he is putting down solid, quick 3 stars in an easy and reliable fashion. It's going to be not the style points that we'd seen in the past from him every single time, but let's see how he takes care of this next base. Mr. Adil on defense has got to be worried about what's coming up against him next. This Na'Vi Stars player just does not miss. Stars, one of the highest hit rates among any competitive player in the scene right now. And man, when those eyes just lock onto your base, it is like a laser beam has just like hit its target.
Indeed, and he's so famous for also being able to recover on the fly when things go wrong. He's bringing the dragons today. I think I saw a spiky ball. I think I saw a giant arrow. Probably the giant arrow going to be used in tandem with the 3 lightning spells and the earthquake. Let's see.
Nice.
I think he gets... Okay, the monolith and the poison tower right away with those extra spells.
Nice shots. Doesn't hit either of the air sweepers, and that's kind of an interesting tech choice for him to have to go with there. It means that he'll have to either freeze or get them all into overgrowth for these dragons to not get pushed around. They hate having to get slowed down by air sweepers. Prevents them from getting 3 stars sometimes, but especially when time is a factor too, he does not want to have to deal with that. Pops the Eternal Tome, and he's going to let the air sweepers start to push up against him. I'm starting to wonder if he had intended to take down that left side air sweeper with the giant arrow. What do you think, Lex?
I feel like probably he's going to go ahead and overgrowth it now. That's going to help a ton. No battle blimp on this attack. He chose to go with the siege barracks for all that extra damage, but this is getting a little risky because he's going to save the town hall for last. Most of his dragons in the core are dying. We still got 2 dragons up top with the Grand Warden, the Royal Champion, and an army of super minions behind her with a couple of spells. Maybe this is okay.
Okay.
But I think this is slowing down a little bit. He might be fine. Double freeze and a rage there to finish.
Yeah. Dumps the rest of his troops as well, and that is going to be the 3-star. The dragons have just been obliterated, but heroes are holding the fort. And in this case, it's going to be another 3-star strike for Na'Vi. Stars comes through, and that average time at 1 minute and 15 is going to stay in their favor with another quick strike. Does slightly increase the average attack time with tied for the slowest hit right there alongside Yada at that 80-second mark. But that is going to be enough to keep them comfortably in the lead now. And I think that they're going to be very happy going into the next round.
Yes, indeed. And even though that was slower than most of his teammates, it was still right on par with the fastest attacks from Marcos Esports. So Na'Vi is still in such a commanding position as we enter the final round of attacks here. Tanwar, at this point, I don't know what the exact total time difference is, but it might be
34 seconds.
34 seconds. Okay, so it's still doable. Marcos Esports still might want to go with the play here of the quickest attack possible, but at the end of the day, it might just come down to Klaus.
Yeah, I don't think that they can expect to beat Klaus on time. But what else can they do? At this point, they need to put a 3-star up on the board, and it just needs to be as fast as possible. There is, I guess, a small sliver of hope that you could hope that there's a miss from Klaus, that somehow he gets a 2-star or a 1-star hit, and that just going for the slow 3-star is the safer way to try to execute this war. But I think that Tanwar has probably got a plan already in mind to try to get the quickest possible 3-star strike. And even though 34 seconds is probably too much to overcome, it is still possible also to get a really slow hit from Klaus if something really, really goes wrong with his last strike. So let's hold out hope for Tanwar that these Electro Dragons, slow as they may be, can lumber through this space, pull off a 3-star, and keep this as a competitive war for the last attack, Lex.
Fun to see something a little bit different from all the other armies we've been seeing in this match. Electro Dragons powering in from the northwest side of the base. Lots of rage spells used for them to help magnify that damage, that chain damage through all those defenses. The Town Hall drops with ease. The Tornado Trap spinning them in circles, but they're still able to power through the Monolith even while doing the disco dance there in the air. The Royal Champion from the right side with the Rage Spell just cruising through all these defenses, and power-wise, this looks crushed.
Wow. Yeah, I gotta take back what I said about a slow lumbering beast in the sky. It looks like Tanwar knew that these Electro Dragons would be the quickest way to take this base down, and that is going to be the fastest attack that we have seen so far from Marcos Esports. Their average time of 1 minute and 24 seconds is going to get just a little bit peeled off, down to 1:23 average now. And Tanwar Sahab with a 1 minute and 16 second attack has left a little tiny bit of hope for them to get the win.
Right. If we add 34 seconds to that, I think it comes out to 150 is the time for Klaus to give us a perfect tie. So Klaus needs a triple. This is a triple or lose situation for Klaus. And not only that, but he does have to get it in less than 1 minute and 50. And he's going to be going up against Amar Gupta's base.
It's triple or lose, but it's also triple and win, as long as you get it in less than 1 minute and 50 seconds. The clutch King Klaus marches into the arena, and he will have the final say. His hope, his fate is in his own hands. And with 26 rocket loons, it looks like he is going to be pairing up with Kazuma this time to drop a big bomb on the base and do so in record fast time. Haven't seen the equipment yet on those heroes, but expecting with that Invispell going down that we are going to see another giant fireball. There it goes, my goodness.
Look at all that
humanity,
damage.
Lexos.
The fireball not only takes out the Monolith, but it takes out the clan castle building, and that is huge. So he doesn't even bring a poison spell because of that, and he doesn't have to spend time fighting ice golems. That could be a big difference maker. Now we're utilizing the Grand Warden's Rage Gem to give the King and the Queen bonus damage, as we don't have his Eternal Tome anymore. The Battle Blimp from the left side of the base, just to get a Super Dragon out there, clear the corner, hopefully fight the Archer Queen, and then we're just going to start dropping rocket balloons all around the base from every single angle.
Yeah, Rage Gem, a very fun tech choice here to use for that Grand Warden, supporting the heroes and giving them even more DPS. You don't have to worry about a life gem if you just destroy everything in your path. And that is what Klaus is aiming to do here. The 2 stars have been secured within the first minute, and he is looking to finish off the rest of this base. He's scratching his head, just saying, is there anything left I need to do? I don't think so. Drops a couple extra spells just because why not? And that is it, Lex. 3 stars scored for Klaus, and Navi advance to the grand final. Marcos Esports kicked down to the lower bracket.
Navi Klaus, 71 second attack. He is not afraid of pressure. He eats it for breakfast. He shows up, he gets it done. He didn't even smile or pump fist or nothing. It was just another day in the office for him. He makes it look so easy. Navi already with a silver ticket, going on to the grand finals, and just 2 other teams remaining in the lower bracket, which means they are going to be fighting for the silver ticket in the next match.
Right, you are, Lex. And we've seen 20 attacks today, every single one of them a 3-star hit. This is another perfect v perfect war that has just got to have those poor base builders shaking their heads, wondering what more can be done. Offense is so incredibly overpowered right now that there just doesn't seem to be any opportunity to deny quick, heavy-handed strikers from getting those 3 stars as often as they like. And if this is going to be the story for the World Championships to come, expect to see lots of tiebreaker matches coming down to time. Still, there's the possibility of hard mode being implemented there, a Spectre on the horizon. Keep your eyes peeled for offense to remain the name of the metagame for the months to come, though.
Yeah, overall, we still got to give a big shout out to Marcos Esports. A perfect war is not an easy feat, so GG's to them. They still had a good performance, but unfortunately only one team can advance here in the upper bracket, and Navi, of course, with the much quicker average attack duration. As you see from all the highlights here, that one attack from Klaus there, he actually used his last invis spell to make Hog Riders invisible next to an Inferno Tower. I think we missed that when we were casting that attack, but that was such a cool little feature as well. And here are the team stats. You can just see the difference across the board. Marcos Esports, almost all their players above that 80-second mark, like you were mentioning time and time again. In 80 seconds, well, that was the slowest attack for the Na'Vi team.
Yeah, the only attack from Marcos that was quicker than any hit from Na'Vi was the one by Tanwar Sahab, coming in at 1 minute and 16. He was the anchor for that Marcos Esports lineup, but we needed every single player hitting at that speed to have any chance to win. And the vote is clearly for Klaus as the MVP of that last war. 55%, and there is no need for a runoff. A clear majority of viewers voted Klaus the most valuable player in that last lineup. But welcome back. We've got two more casters joining us. Guys, Carbon and Itzu are here to give you a breakdown of that last war, to maybe point out some of the things that stood out the most to them. Let's go to you first, Carbon.
Yes.
What was the most important takeaway from that last match for you?
It was time. It was how quick Na'Vi was. You mentioned it. Their slowest attack from Na'Vi was almost faster than all the attacks. Granted, Marcos did have one that was 1 minute 16, but still, Na'Vi is dominating the time game when it comes down to a perfect. So if any team wants a chance to beat them, they're going to have to really step up their attacks and being quicker. What about you, Itzu? What did you think of that match for Na'Vi now making it to the grand finals?
Yeah, I mean, it was just really impressive to watch. We had so many good attacks, and especially again, Kazuma coming in with the clutch fireball play there as well, one of the quickest attacks there. And by now I feel like, especially since only Kazuma, or like mainly Kazuma, is playing that on the Na'Vi lineup as well, I feel like it's not that easy to spot those plans that quickly, because remember, this is not your classic clan war where you have those 24 hours to like plan and do your attacks. This is just really short notice, and at the same time making sure that you're supporting your teammates, making sure everyone has a plan, what is the attacking order looking like and everything. So really big props to him, because he seems to be one of the few players who's able to pull this off in the current meta quite consistently with this really impressive success, Woody.
Yeah, this is a metagame that is built for Na'Vi. Na'Vi is a set of consistent, creative attackers that know how to demolish a base in record time. And when offense is so heavily favored in terms of who gets the win, it's not about the base building style that can, try to stifle Na'Vi. It's about who gets the quicker attacks, and Na'Vi just does not miss, and they do not leave any time on the board, Lex.
Yeah, and another thing to point out is I feel like it's so hard to build against a team like Na'Vi, because they might do 1 or 2 or 3 Root Rider attacks, but how do you even try to build against a Kazuma fireball, rocket balloon from every single angle kind of plan? It just feels impossible.
Yeah, it's very difficult, but what we're going to do is I'm now going to break down Kazuma's attack here and describe to you how does this come through in this attack. So first, before we play this, I want to break it down. The plan here is to be using the fireball for this section right here, the multi-target inferno, which then helps grab a scatter shot, the expo. The queen is going to have her arrow come from the top side to try to fly through. This is the original plan, this red line here, but Kazuma's arrow is actually going to fly through this side, so the monolith doesn't end up actually going down. You'll see towards the end of the deck when he takes out the poison spell. But also an additional thing is Kazuma has a baby dragon that is placed here, so he can then funnel his heroes into the base like this. So let's go ahead and play it and talk through as he drops his fireball. So first, he's gonna drop the invises to help direct the fireball right through here. So he's gonna take some time. We have the siege barracks down here, the baby dragon set in the funnel just like that, and there is, oh, I'll fix that there, as we have that warded fireball now going through here, landing, and then this is where he tried to do the earthquakes to help take out the monolith, but the arrow just went off to the left side, so he wasn't able to grab that. But now we have P.E.K.K.A.s coming through here, going to be able to help grab this bottom side. We have a king coming up here, so the P.E.K.K.A.s from that siege barracks help set that funnel as he's continuing his way through, and the queen continues with the rage from the healer puppet, and now it's just sprinkling these rocket loons to move across the base around and then just end on that town hall to help take that down. So that arrow through the base gets some nice value, but the fireball essentially takes out that first compartment so that he can just sprinkle these balloons around. And don't forget to drop your minions. If you don't drop the minions till later, then it's going to be slower in terms of cleanup. And one thing he could have done, he could have made this king invisible in the end so that the minions would not have targeted him to even speed it up even quicker. So Kazuma's attack, yes, it was very quick, but it could have even been faster if he hit that giant arrow, if he made that king invisible. But still, nonetheless, great performance from Na'Vi, and they are advancing to the grand finals. They already have a silver ticket, so now they can lay everything out on the line and go for that golden ticket, as we are going to see the next match to come, Marcos Esports take it on Pulse Gaming. The winner of that will guarantee themselves a silver ticket here, Itsu.
That is correct. And the difference just between the second and third place, and then between the second and the first place, is just so massive, because this is just always the difference of either no or the silver ticket, or the silver or the golden ticket, because those tickets mean just so much more prize money in later stages of this tournament with the last chance qualifier, and then having the chance as well to make it to the finals, the grand finals of the Clash Worlds event later this year, which means there is on top of that even more prize money. So this is why those golden tickets, and why the difference between the third, second, and first seed is just so massive, Woody.
Yeah. And I think that the most important takeaway that I would say for Navi's performance, especially watching that attack from Kazuma, is that they are great strategists. I think we talk a lot during the match itself about the picture perfect placement, the perfect pixel, the perfect second of getting those deploys down, but that's all tactical. That's all execution level planning. And so I think the most important thing that we saw from Kazuma last time is just the ideas that he's able to generate on multiple different fronts, looking at any base to just deconstruct it. Carbon, you made a really great point there that the giant arrow was intended to go for the monolith right into the core of the base, but even when he misses there, he's able to adapt on the fly. It's like he's got 8 eyes, 8 hands, Doctor Strange in the chat here, doing everything he can to tear this base down as quick as possible, and he did a great job at it. You got to see a little bit of a preview there. We're gonna have Tryhard coming in for an interview just in a couple of minutes, but Lexnos, before we do that, let's go over to you and take your final thoughts on that last base breakdown.
Yeah, it is really fun to see from Kazuma, and I think that plan, even though we agree that it takes a lot more extra time to come up with a sort of plan like that, it is still versatile in a lot of ways, because I think most of the planning just comes down to the fireball, the giant arrow, deciding where you're going to use your siege machine, your barbarian king, and all the rocket balloons and stuff. He's just kind of winging it on the fly wherever he thinks the defenses around the base need to be sniped. He doesn't spend too much time probably planning out those details.
Yeah, it was a great job there from Kazuma. But now, as we just quickly saw, Woody, we got an interview with none other than Tryhards. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Carbon Finn, and I am so pleased to be joined by one of the greatest pro players on the scene right now, representing Milliseem MG, hot off of their golden ticket win last month. We have Tryhard. Tryhard, how are you doing today, sir?
Hey, Woody. Thanks for having me. I'm doing well, very well today.
Well, thanks very much for joining us. I know you're watching these matches, very excited to find out who your competition will be at the end of the year. Your team has earned their spot in the World Championship, but you've got a couple of tough opponents already with Synchronic and VM Legacy. What are you making of this month's competition? Do you expect it'll be Na'Vi going to the grand finals to join you at the end of the year?
I think so. I think Na'Vi are on the good way to win. They are very good when they come to the final stages of tournaments, and they play very well under pressure. So yeah, I think they will make it.
Okay, well, if they've got a good chance at making it, that means that you're going to be playing against them again later this year. What is your team doing in the months between earning that golden ticket and the World Championship to prepare?
To be honest, this month we took a lot of rest. We chilled a bit, but as soon as possible we start to prepare for World Championship, World Finals. We will have a lot of work. We will see if we play on the hard mode or not. A lot of things to figure out, and that's it.
Well, we've seen already there's a lot to keep in mind when you're going up against a team like Navi. They're very creative, and I don't want to keep this interview all about them, but I'm wondering, is Milliceme MG going for consistency? Is that the key to victory? Or do you guys sit back now and try to come up with a never before seen strategy that can just completely shake the grounds of Clash of Clans right now and give us something that we could have not expected?
Yeah, to be honest, it's always the goal to come with new strategies, something that nobody thought of, and we will try. It's not easy to find new things to bring into the game, but we will definitely try to bring new things and to surprise our opponents.
We'll have our fingers crossed for you. Tryhard, I know, because I saw this over on X, that this is the first time in many years where you've had a chance to sit back and watch a World Championships finals. You already have your golden ticket. What are you thinking right now? Is that a boost of confidence for your team that you picked it up early on and that you could have this opportunity this year to become world champions?
It's amazing to qualify not that early, but in the third position. It's giving fresh air for the rest of the year, and we can start to think for later things and the finals in the next month. So yeah, it was amazing. The feeling is amazing.
Well, let's set aside the competitive elements of Clash of Clans for a little while. I think that we've broken down that quite a bit. We're about to wrap up the interview, but I want to give you a minute just as a person, as a player, as a friend, a son, just to talk about what it's like competing at this level. What are the emotions that you experience as a player at this high level of the game?
Well, the first thing is the investment. The investment is huge. We always have to put a lot of time. I mean, personally I do. So that's why I wanted so hard to qualify this year and every years. And it's a lot of feelings, different emotions. Sometimes bad ones, sometimes good ones, like last month. But that's it. That's the game. That's the competitive aspect of the game. You can't always be happy. Sometimes you have to go through hard times. But this year looks very good for us so far. So I hope we will keep it on the good way. And
Well, thanks very much again for joining us. You're certainly one of the top players competing in a world-class team this year, and you've got every chance in the world to get that championship title under your belt. I want to congratulate you on your performance so far and wish you the best with your rest this month and your preparation in the weeks to come before the World Championship at the end of the year. Thanks very much for joining us, Tryhard.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right, we're going to bring the rest of the casters back as we start to prepare for our lower bracket finals. Marcos Esports is going to be going up against Pulse Gaming. Feel free to riff on that or to tell us anything that came to mind from that last interview with Tryhard. Lex, I'll go to you next.
It's always fun to see where some of these players' minds are at after they already qualify. Are some of them just relaxing, chilling, not doing much? Are some of them just non-stop focus the entire year, building bases, adjusting to the meta, doing 72 Legends attacks per day? I feel like we got a wide spectrum of players that play differently in their off time. What do you think, Carbon?
Yeah, I really love the fact that they're taking the rest, well-deserved rest, and they earned it, and now they can take the time, starting in maybe in a few weeks, to prepare for Worlds. And they'll be able to see how the competition's going to pair up, because they'll have to do the research. Yes, they know already a few teams that are there, but still, depends on who's about to get the golden ticket here today, is definitely going to start to influence things, plus who could be getting upgrading a silver ticket to the golden ticket here as we're getting ready for this next match. Itsu, get your thoughts on either that interview and this match to come.
I just want to quickly touch on the one thing which he said as well. It's like you can't only have great moments in a competitive environment, right? Which means there is some tournaments which you might not perform as good, some tournaments where you perform incredibly well, and then it's all about like how you handle those ups and downs. And this is where then like the best players I feel like are shining as well, because it's not about just attacking, it's about the mindset as well. And I feel like that is a lot of times overlooked with just like only watching the matches, only watching the players perform. But you said it correctly, we're getting ready for our lower bracket finals. Marcos Esports and that versus Pulse Gaming. It's not going to be an easy match. Those two teams have fought in, well, long battles to get to this stage, and there's now everything on the line in this one match for them, Woody.
A super high stakes match coming up next. Both Marcos Esports and Pulse Gaming need a win here in order to get a ticket, because neither of them have one yet, and this is the last open opportunity to do so. We do have a couple more community events that could give a final opportunity to get that last chance qualifier spot, but that is not going to be an easy pick. And it's not an easy selection either for the predictions.
Wow.
Carbon and I have selected Pulse as the winner for this next match, while Marcos Esports, favored by Itsu and Lexnos, an even split on the caster desk for the predictions. Lex, I'll go to you first. Why do you think Marcos is going to get the win?
It's fun to see that finally Carbon and I have a different prediction, so we won't just be the same for the entire tournament. But Marcos Esports, I don't know. I have a good feeling about them right now. Even though they did just lose that match in the upper bracket, their last two matches in a row have been perfect wars. 15 stars, 15 stars. Pulse Gaming did have that one star slip up yesterday, and I know Marcos also had one fail yesterday, but I think this is a really close one. It's a toss-up, and I don't know. I have a good feeling about Marcos.
So the reason why I selected Pulse was I'm assuming both these teams are going to get a perfect. And if I had to put one of these teams on the side of time, I would put Pulse, because we're seeing Fireball, Rockaloon attack coming in from Chihuahua, coming in with such a very fast hit. Marcos, on the other hand, against their last match against Navi, they were on the slower side. And now we also have the prediction from the viewers at home at 62% are taking Pulse Gaming in this next match. So, but Itsu, you selected Marcos, and what was your reasoning?
I feel like they have done an incredible job versus Navi. I mean, it's not easy to get a 15 score versus them, and then they were, I mean, not that crazy far away when it comes down to time, considering that they were the heavy underdog in that match. So I think they are maybe not feeling as devastated as you might think after that loss. They have still scored those 15 stars, and I think in this match, I'm not really sure if it's going to result in a 15-15 score. I feel like it's more going to be about like just getting the 15 scores first and then time after, because we have seen quite a few matches now where, well, the pressure was getting to the players, and this might happen in this one as well.
Yeah, I certainly think that would be the case with perfect wars across the board for the first two matches already today. We can expect to see 3 stars coming back in once again. And you're right, Carbon, that's why I picked them too. If it comes down to time, Pulse is favored this time around. But you know, I took Dizzy X and Ezos in their previous war because the worry that I have about Pulse is that they might have brittle attacks. They force these attacks to go so fast and hard that if they have one little tiny slip up, it might turn into a 1-star, as we saw yesterday against Navi. And so the possibility for either team to win is still out there, but The community prediction also going in Pulse's favor. Does that rattle your convictions at all, Lex, or are you still rock solid for Marcos?
No, I've just got a gut feeling, a good feeling for Marcos. We'll see what both teams bring to the table, but you can't just win these big tournaments with just straight up consistency. Sometimes you gotta play, some risk. You gotta go for those crazy attacks in order to have the big payoff, and we'll see what both these teams are able to bring to the table here when everything matters the most.
Well, it is time to jump into the action to see who is moving on to the grand finals, as we will see Itsu and Lex just a little bit later, as it will be myself and Woody jumping into this one. And who is going to win this and guarantee themselves a silver ticket? Hear Woody now.
Carbon, this match might be the most important one today, with Natus Vincere already advancing to the grand finals and holding on to a ticket of their own. They're guaranteed at least a silver and the possibility of an upgrade to a gold. But we know that a ticket will also be awarded from this lower bracket final match. If both of these teams, I think, have got to agree that Navi has bested them already, there's a good chance that they'd be able to do so again in a grand finals. But even just holding a silver ticket is a big pickup for either one of these teams, because then they get to compete again in the last chance qualifier. Dizzy has already defeated Momentum Shifters before. HTM Esports would be a terrifying foe, but if Navi picks up the win here, they'd be upgraded to gold, and both of these teams would not have to face off against them in the last chance qualifier.
Well, we're seeing now Root Riders coming in from Watto, as the King does have that Angry Jelly placed on him, so he's going to be moving through, does lure out the Ice Golems, burning the King ability, having the Spiky Ball skip on through, as Root Riders are moving right on through the Eagle Artillery with the Warded Eternal Tome just getting activated and hanging on to that Overgrowth spell to be used over the Town Hall as he approaches.
Big Root Rider army is marching toward the top. A little bit of an awkward pathing here, as they're going to be looping around the base, still holding on to that Overgrowth spell, and it gets dropped right in time. Watto is the attacker with the lowest hit rate from this Pulse Gaming crew, so if he does pull off a strong hit right out of the gate, that does give me a lot of confidence that they have got what it takes to get the win here. Marching forward from the top side with those Super Hogs as well to hammer these defenses down. P.E.K.K.A.s are sure to get enough firepower in the game to knock it all apart. This 3-star is guaranteed, and it's only a question of how quick they seal the deal.
Yeah, he will have to path his way back up to the storage up there, drops the minion Super Barbs on the backside, looking to help remove this Town Hall now, and down it goes with ease as he passed through just for the cleanup, and passing the minute 20, about a minute 23 seconds it looks like it's going to be here for Pulse to start this match off and set the tone. Those have been around Marcos Esports' time when they were taking on Navi, and it was Navi that sent both of these teams to the lower brackets. So whichever one wins is going to be trying to get the revenge in the grand finals.
A reliable, quick hit that we just saw from Watto is good news for the Pulse Gaming crew. We do admit that that is not necessarily the quickest time, a time that would give them a confident edge here, but very reliable, solid pick. And, obviously, with having just seen the timing from Marcos already, I think we have a good idea about what to expect in terms of their own timing. It's probably going to be around that minute and 23, minute and 25 mark. And so Pulse have certainly kept pace, and with their arguably slowest attacker right out front already putting in a solid performance, expect to see that average time maybe even go down over the course of the war, Carbon.
Well, we're going to see Marcos Esports set the tone for the Dragons, 8 of them. E-Dragon is placed right away on the far right side. Another one to the top side as they drop in a couple wall breaks to break some entries into the space for the heroes. As the lightning spell comes through, takes out, doesn't take anything out there unless... Oh, no, it was a sweeper. At least I think that did go down. As the arrow pairs. There you go. The arrow flies through the base, helps finish them off. As now the Queen, King are to work together as the Dragons. They have that Warden ability, protects that blimp to the far left side.
left a little bit of a question mark as to what was going to finish off those buildings that he had invested so much spell support to strike at, but lots of bombs popping out now to take care of the rest of the battle blimp. Even though the town hall has been secured, he's going to have to wait on these dragons to loop back around to get the rest of these defenses down. Air defenses are going to be popping off as best they can, trying to deny these dragons up on the top side. It looks like one of them will go down with the multi-archer tower also firing away at him. Tamwar Shahab is marching forth with the dragons on the bottom side, though, has already popped that eternal tome, and he's got a lot of base left to cover. 2 air defenses are still up, and he's waiting for this royal champion to try to engage them. Hasn't been able to march up for them yet, and he's already spent 70 seconds. Pops that RC ability, and she's going to have to engage the enemy RC now. Carbon.
He does the deal with the ice cone, which will freeze up this royal champion here. Dragons continue their way through the bottom side, but getting slowed down quite a bit. Looks like it's going to be right at the minute 30 mark, so it will be a little bit slower, yeah, as the dragons are going to finish off the storage up top. Royal champion continues, but unfortunately didn't have the best split for the dragons. Yeah, a few of them went to the top side, but unfortunately it is not on the faster side. 1 minute 38 seconds it's going to be for Marcos Esports, while Pulse Gaming had a minute 23. So that is quite a bit of a lead, but it is only 1 attack on each side and plenty of more attacks to come.
More attacks to come, but this is a very bad start for Marcos Esports. Their quickest attacker in the last war now has an attack time that is longer than any hit in their previous war, while Watto had a shorter time than his previous strikes and was on average against what Marcos Esports were able to do last war. That's kind of a lot of words just to say the first round, Pulse has overperformed and Marcos has underperformed.
And this is the attack here. Let's see if it's going to be quick. The wanted fireball, and yes! The Tesla even pops there, and the invisibility spell on the Warden make it so that no matter what, even though it popped, it didn't go for that. So perfect placement on the invisibility spell. Able to get that value, which the key thing of that fireball was removing the clan castle. Yeah, he didn't get the ricochet cannon, but the Warden can actually continue to fly his way over there if he doesn't hit any sinking air mines and help take that down, as this queen is coming from the bottom side. Now deploys the overgrowth on the monolith and the poison as rocket loons are being placed down.
Yeah, and if there's any doubt as to the utility of those battle builder huts, do not keep those doubts in your mind, because that ricochet cannon, almost destroyed, have been repaired back up to full health, and Chihawa has to invest those rocket loons alongside that Grand Warden to finish it off. Still, he has taken a page right out of Kazuma's notebook and is going to be sending in everything along the edges of this base to try to take them down as quick as he can. Barbarian King's bouncy ball is going to be spiking all around and has eliminated any doubt in my mind that Pulse Gaming is going to be the clear favorite to get the win here. A rapid, fast attack from Chihawa puts them in the lead by far.
Lowers the attack average duration by so much, and now that 1 minute and 6 seconds. That was the attack that I was looking out for in this match to see. If it was going to be quick, they were going to have a really good chance of winning this war. If it was going to be slow, then their chance could be gone. But that one was very fast there from Chihawa. Well done there. And now Pulse Gaming is in a really good lead. Has a huge advantage in this match because of that last attack from Marcos Esports, which was 1 minute 38. Now this one has to start to approach the 60-second mark, as we do see Root Riders, Valkyries, a handful of Super Barbarians, starting with the Queen and Siege Barracks placed to the top side. Free pack is coming out, very nice to help take that down, as the Root Riders, Warden, and Super Barbs to help set that funnel. Gonna push those Root Riders on in with the provided distraction of the Skeleton spell out in front.
Safe, smooth deploy that Siege Barracks along the top side as well, taking down that multi-mortar. Krishan Don's going to be charging in on 3 different corners now, and Electro Dragon out on the 4th corner as well to pair it up. Does that enemy RC go down, though? No, Pekka does not get the shot off, and that is going to be still a big defensive miss that Krishan Don's going to have to deal with later on. Still, the march into the core is looking pretty good. Lots of DPS coming in from that monolith, and that's going to force that skeleton spell out to distract both it and the enemy royal champion. Not sure if the positioning was ideal on that, though, because now he's, although shutting down 2 defenses, not getting very much damage off against the monolith. Archer Queen has to rotate around to the top side and will be taking a lot of damage from the town hall. 3 spells do go out though, and Christian Don looks clear for landing, looking for that 3-star in good timing, Carbon.
Yeah, placed all his spells and troops, now just sits back and watches. It is a 3-star, and that was on the quicker side, bringing the 1 minute 38 second duration down to a 1 minute 22, and that was the same, a 66 seconds. Well done. While we saw Fireball Rocket Loons that were in the previous attack 66, this was Root Rider and Valkyries with a 66, and that is impressive for it being a Root Rider Valkyrie attack. Typically, the very fast attacks that hit those 60-second marks can be the Warden Fireballs, can be even sometimes it could be E-Dragons if they get the perfect change through the core, but now that definitely changes the tone of this match, and Marco's Esports are back in it.
Yeah, the difference between Navi and Marcos, I think at this point is summed up well in, you know, a quote from Bruce Lee. He said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." So clearly that is what Christian Don has done. A very, very clean hit with Root Riders at the top of the metagame right now. He executed it perfectly and knew exactly what he had to do to tear that base down in record time.
Yeah.
Tying up with Shihawa is a high task, and even though he may not necessarily get style points for firing off a fireball, he still did an extraordinary job that was, you know, able to surprise me and I think reset the storyline for this war so far. Marcos no longer so far behind that they could still come back on time. Just a 15-second advantage in Pulse Gaming's favor. Still appreciable, but not yet decisive, Carbon.
Yeah, because the slowest, or I would say the fastest attack in the previous match against Navi from Marcos Esports was a minute 16. So this being 10 seconds faster than their fastest, and they have some attacks to go, that's a good sign. They're going to look to continue that. Can they get the value we are seeing? Heroes, Electro Dragons, troops being dropped in every different corner at once, so they can converge and eventually take that town hall down and getting that 3-star. But Pulse is going to have to be able to answer. Everything's on the line. If you're just joining, this is the lower bracket match. The winner of this is going to be advancing to the grand finals, guaranteeing themselves a silver ticket. While Navi already has a silver ticket, they're trying to upgrade theirs to a golden ticket. So we have 3 teams left, and only 2 will be left after this match.
You're right, Carbon, but although the prize is great, scoring a ticket from a win here, a loss is just so heart-wrenching because it is elimination. The lower bracket has no room for forgiveness. And so Sahara must be the next to carry the banner forward for Pulse Gaming with a 3-star strike to maintain the lead. He does have a nice time advantage on his side, and so as long as he goes in without squandering that, expect to see Pulse Gaming stay ahead through the mid-war.
And Sahara is bringing the Root Riders and Valks with the Angry Jelly on that king. Couple skeleton spells, 4 rages and an overgrowth, 20 super barbarians. We're gonna see those help set funnels to help push the troops into the base, while he don't even have to set a funnel for the king, as he has an Angry Jelly. But the Teslas look like they're gonna be pulling this king out a little bit of this base, as some Root Riders are down. Royal Champion as well, Warden, and he's not wasting any time now placing his troops.
I think this is probably good news to catch these Teslas early on, because that's less of a worry factor later on that he has to adapt on the fly to something. As long as the king is still able to take out this ricochet cannon and continue marching forth on that topside category compartment, I think he's going to be happy with how things go here. Single target Inferno does heat up and burn down one of those Root Riders, as another one is now soaking some more shots from it. I don't know if they're going to be able to take it down in time, and man, that single target Inferno has just been getting great value before the Valkyries can finally rotate out to go get it, Carbon.
Finally goes down as he continues his way towards the backside. A few headhunters getting placed off to the right to help take down the defensive king, as the queen ability was forced, with a couple more super barbarians to place around. Now being placed onto the outside defenses, which are littered with some spring traps to help launch some of those super barbarians. But the town hall now comes back. He can target it, freezes, rages, and he's going to be crushing his way right on through.
Perfect job from Sahara. There's nothing really left to criticize or to say about this attack. It was just a very solid 3-star strike at the 1 minute and 21 second mark. A little bit longer than we may have hoped for, but still quicker than Watto's attack, and it keeps Pulse Gaming's average time at 1 minute and 16 seconds. Certainly competitive enough to keep an edge against Marcos Gaming in the mid-war.
Yeah, it was a great job there. Still minute 21. That's right around the average that you need to be. And it was where Marcos Esports, their highest, which was the slowest, was a minute 38. And that one is going to play a huge role in the outcome of this match, as we still have several attacks to come in with. We've been seeing all weekend Root Riders, Valkyries, Dragons, some triple clones as well, which placing some Yetis in those blimps and cloning up those Yetis. And then recently, we've been seeing a lot more some fireballs and with the rocket loons. Maybe they're noticing, okay, you know, it can be reliable and it can be very effective at being quick. But the problem is with a fireball is if you miss, then it is devastating and it can lead to a very, very strong likelihood of a 1-star possibility.
You know, I've had a few words to say already about the metagame, how it's very shifted in favor of attackers, and that kind of makes me feel a little bit bad for base builders that it's so difficult to come up with anything that can shut them down. But on the flip side, I gotta say, it must be really fun to be a creative, quick attacker in this metagame, because you can find any little advantage to shave a few more seconds off. You know that that can be decisive for your team. It can give you the win from a position that may seem impossible to clutch. So it makes every attack extraordinarily high stakes and really exciting and fun to watch. So I'm really looking forward to the mid-war now, with Marcos Esports having that opportunity now to try to come back out ahead if they could just find some sort of way with all of these new troops, spells, abilities, pets, equipment. It's a combinatorial explosion, the number of options that you can bring to bear on offense. Will Mr. Adil be able to find some way to thread the needle and to get exactly what Marcos needs to get back in the lead? He needs a quick attack to do it, and he's got to do it against a tough base. Chihawa from Pulse Gaming knows exactly what opportunities avail to really clever attackers, and he's going to do everything he can to shut down those hits. So Mr. Adil starting out with an Electro Dragon to the right side corner is just going to get a little bit of funneling done before he sets up for the main stage hit, Carbon.
Yeah, with the E-Dragon off to the right side, King, Queen together already. The jump spell is going to give King access, jumping into that scatter shot towards the bottom as Root Riders, the Warden, and Valkyries are all placed now. They're going to come in together. The artillery shots are raining down on these troops, but he's okay because once he pops that Warden build, he will have that healing tome to heal them back up. As the Royal Champion also has been now placed towards the top side, while the Siege Barracks P.E.K.K.A.s are trying to make their way up top to help provide some distraction if the Royal Champ ends up making her way up there.
Every edge of this funneling effort has gone exactly according to plan so far, with the Electro Dragon getting excellent chain value on the outer edge. The Siege Barracks taking down that top compartment. Only difficulty so far has been that enemy Royal Champion, but with Wizards locking onto her and a Super Barbarian as well to tank, she ought to go down. No, still has a few more hit points and cause a little bit of problems up on the top side. Skeleton Spell is going to come out to slow things down, but it's finally the Super Minions that finish it off. Still, this is a slow start as Mr. Adil is finally making his way toward the Town Hall now. Already popped that Eternal Tome, and those Root Riders are going to take a massive amount of damage from that Giga Bomb going off. The poison going to be taken away at their hit points as well, as we're now past the minute 15 mark and still have a quarter of the base left to take down, Carbon.
And this is the exact reason why they use the Overgrowth onto the Town Hall, and they don't want to take it down. Once you go through the explosion and then the poison spell, your troops get slowed down and receive so much damage that look at the time, it's not only racking up, but his Queen might not be able to survive this multi-arch tower in the Grand Ward. And hang on, down she goes. And not only the question is if it's gonna be even time, but it's not gonna be a triple.
The first miss today is now on the boards. Mr. Adil from Marcos Esports is not able to get the 3-star that his team needed to stay afloat. And Pulse Gaming are powering forward. A time advantage, a star advantage, a percentage advantage. Everything is coming up Pulse right now, Carbon.
We have Lincoln and NYU still to attack for Pulse Gaming. And now this can completely change their mindset and strategy of what they want to do in their next attacks. Do they go for the safer approach in terms of 3-star? Granted, the attacks already with Root Riders and Velks are pretty safe. It should be able to be getting those 3-stars, or do they go in with attacks that they may be more comfortable with, that they've been doing for so many years? But they've been practicing these attacks for so many months now and putting in so much effort. So still, I'm gonna probably guess that they're still gonna be bringing the Root Riders and Velks, but maybe they take a little bit of a different approach to the attack to try to make it safer to get that 3-star. They can slow it down. They don't have to drop everything right away because time is no longer a factor.
Well, the advantage that they have is a grim one at best, with even an 89% destruction percentage on that last attack. There's still the possibility of Pulse Gaming, even if they miss, to win out on percentage. That's not a very convincing victory, even as a 2-star hit, whereas yesterday we saw 2-star strikes that were still in the 90s and kept that competition strong. An 89% 2-star is quite a miss. And so commiserations to Mr. Odddeal on a tough-fought war. But again, you mentioned it, Carbon. The reason why they don't like marching into that town hall until the very end is because that Gigabomb and the explosion deal so much damage to attacking forces. Now, if it hits a hero or if it takes down your siege machine dedicated solely to taking out the town hall, it's not the end of the world. But when all of your Root Riders are right in that Giga explosion, that is bad news, Bears. Lincoln has an opportunity now to push this lead even further ahead for Pulse Gaming, and we'll get some chain lightning value on this Electro Dragon with a black bomb getting triggered by that balloon. Good news for the Coconut Cruise.
As it looks like the E-Dragon's gonna make its way towards the bottom where the air defense is, not into the Eagle Artillery here, but when you do go with an Overgrowth, which we are seeing here, and probably gonna pair it on the Town Hall, it can be risky as he does pop that one additional tome now to help protect all the Dragons, Balloons, Stone Slammer, and even the E-Dragon that came right into the core as his heroes are gonna be walking their way down to the bottom. And there is the Overgrowth on the Town Hall now.
This is a picture-perfect entry point for these Dragons, getting ideal spread on multiple different defenses, clear and convincing support from the Stone Slammer as well. Shuts down with an Overgrowth spell that backside at the perfect opportunity. I'm a little bit worried about this Monolith being able to hammer away at these Dragons, as they're not going to have an easy mode of entry to get some damage in on that. But the heroes are still looking very healthy. I don't even think he's deployed as Barbarian King yet.
Well, he's on the
Oh, wait, no, there he is on the bottom. There he pops the ability now. There it goes up.
Indeed, just pop that King ability, which that Spiky Ball got so much value. And also, remember, it will one-shot that Spell Tower, taking it down, as he does basically end on the Town Hall.
Nice.
The second to last building, as Lincoln gets that 3-star for Pulse Gaming, and they are 90% too. They don't have to get a triple from getting a silver ticket and getting a rematch against Navi in the grand finals.
Held on to a freeze spell he could have swagged at the end there too. Might have saved him a few more seconds, but time is not going to be a factor for him at this point. He was just playing it safe and cool. This is going to be an easy walk-away win for Pulse Gaming if they can get just one more 3-star strike. Their future is in their own hands. And a silver ticket at a minimum if they can get one more triple against Marcos Esports. On the other side, though, Marcos has got to put up double 3-star hits to have a hope at getting that win, because with Pulse Gaming needing to they don't even need to get a 3-star. If they get a 2-star, 90%, Pulse Gaming will win this war in their next hit, Carbon.
Yeah, that's all they do need, that 90% 2-star. But at that point, if you're going to be getting a 90% 2-star, it's almost like you have to get a triple. It's like might as well. You're that close. If it was a difference of you just need a 2-star to win, okay, that's different. You could just send your heroes around, send the blimp for the Town Hall, and then whatever percent you get. So there is still pushing in for the triple there, as they want to get that done to try to keep that momentum going into the grand finals. Remember, coming from the lower bracket, you're going to have to not only beat Navi once, you're gonna have to beat them 2 times in a row. And Navi have yet to lose since they're coming from the upper bracket. And all Navi will have to do is win once, and they convert their silver ticket into a gold ticket.
Now that would be good news for Vatang as well. Keep in mind that if Navi is able to get a golden ticket, then their silver ticket will pass down to Vatang. Reason for that is Vatang came in 3rd place in the qualifier where Navi took the silver ticket. And so Vatang still waiting in the wings. Even though they're not competing today, they are the team that stands to gain the most from Navi getting a win.
They are crossing their fingers here for sure. But we're going to now see if Marcos Esports can continue, because if Navi end up losing, since they already have a silver ticket, and then Pulse Gaming, if they make it to the grand finals and if they were to win, then Marcos Esports, they're 3rd. They would get it. So there's so many scenarios that can play, because the loser of this match still could get a silver ticket if the winner of this goes and defeats Navi and gets the golden ticket. So we'll have to see what plays out, because there's so many scenarios and you do not want to go anywhere, as there's going to be plenty of matches. Could be a bracket reset still to come.
Well, a lot of excitement still left for our games today. Pulse Gaming in the advantageous spot against Marcos Esports. We still need 2 more hits from Marcos and would expect that nothing short of 2 back-to-back triples would keep them competitive, but even that would not be enough to guarantee a victory over a Pulse Gaming team that has not yet missed today. MWC from Marcos Esports marching forward with an Ice Golem to block for the Barbarian King out front, while the Archer Queen over on the top left side will get some additional funneling done. Electro Dragon on the bottom left taking a few more shots. Catches a Tesla as well and be able to zap that down for some more chain lightning value. Main army is coming in the bottom side as Root Riders will get support from the Grand Warden. He's going a little bit slow though, and a few Root Riders are starting to creep ahead. No life aura for them for a little while, but he does get back in time to protect most of them. Misses the Eternal Tome on the Hog Riders that were marching for the core and doesn't take down that multi-archer tower. But still, it's looking like a fine start so far, even if it's not a dominating victory for MWC.
His king did get slowed down so much by defending headhunters that came out of there that I don't know if he got all the value that he was hoping for with that giant gauntlet and that rage vial. But the queen did pop her ability to the far left of now dealing with the king, a bunch of skeletons, and that's the problem. Is he has to invest that freeze. I mean, he
misses the eagle with the freeze. Oh, but I guess he got the king. Sorry, I couldn't see. The chat button was in the way. But the queen will survive a little bit longer, even though those healers are going to be going down. She doesn't have her ability to pop. If she can take down this multi-archer tower, at least it will do something.
Oh, no. Oh, no. That queen is gone. The Root Riders are gone. The Warden is gone. And now that is another 2-star coming in for Marcos Esports. They know once their first 2-star came in, it was devastating. And now at this point, Pulse Gaming, all they'll have to get is a 2-star. And they will be victorious, putting them to 14. So no longer do they have to hit that 90% 2-star mark. They could just hit the 50% 2-star and they will secure it.
Yeah, not only do they actually win with a 2-star here, they could win if they got a 1-star, because with this big gap opened up, I think it would be, what, a 1-star 84% would be a victory for Pulse Gaming.
Yeah, because Marcos, the best they can get with a triple would push them up to about 96.4, and Pulse Gaming are currently at 80, and yeah, they just need actually almost like 48%. What is that? No, not.
No, I think it's a 1-star 83%.
83, okay,
would guarantee
yeah,
victory for Pulse.
Well, we'll have to see. All they have to get is 2.
Or a 2-star.
2-star. It's easier. It's probably easier to hit that 2-star to get that town hall down. But NYU, it's in your hands to push them to the grand finals.
I think you're right. Probably easy to get the 2-star, but hey, we've seen quite a few 1-star hits in the high percentage mark already. It's pretty wild to imagine that even a terrible miss right now from Pulse Gaming would still be enough to clench the win.
Oh, I think he forgot his
because
earthquake.
of the great 4 attacks that we've seen so far. But I love that fireball coming in from the Grand Warden as well, popping down a huge hit. NYU has got a smile on his face. He's clearly happy with the early execution for this hit.
I think he forgot his earthquake there as the clan castle was supposed to go down. Same thing for the monolith. So that's gonna be a little bit annoying there. I'm sure that's why he might be smiling. Is he like,
he was embarrassed.
guys, I forgot my earthquake, so I can't take that value down. But now he's just pushing his way in. Doesn't need the triple. Could just grab that 2-star as the King's ability has been forced. Super Hogs coming out of the siege barracks as Rockaloons could be placed around. But remember, you got to get into that town hall here, NYU.
He drops a freeze on the town hall. Lots of bombs going off. Won't be able to do anything against a Phoenix
There it
King,
is.
and that's it. 2 stars already secured. This might be actually a miss from Pulse, and I'm glad you caught that miss on the monolith. I thought that he was happy about it, but I was focused too hard on his camera and not on the scene that was unfolding in the actual battlefield. Monolith standing is bad news for the last leg of this attack, with really only a swarm of troops along the outer edges to clean up. I think the 2-star is going to be all he can be able to claim this time, Carbon.
Well, that Ice Golem will freeze up this Royal Champion as that Spring Trap absolutely sprung those hogs from the Royal Champ. But now she's making her way off to the multi and the monolith. But these...
Oh, she gets the multi down.
Yeah, but the monolith was supposed to be down from the fireball. That whole... Oh, look at that. It's got like no health as well. But still, even if it was at 90+% 2-star, since it is 96, even if MWC's attack did triple, it would have been enough in the end. But unfortunately, he forgot his earthquake, and it would have taken that down. It would have put it to a perfect war, but it's all good because Pulse Gaming will be advancing to the grand finals and looking for their revenge against Navi.
Well, there it is. Go ahead and brush your shoulders off, NY. You didn't get that 3rd star you were looking for, but it is a win anyways. 2-star and 98% means that Pulse Gaming have left just 2 buildings on the map, and Marcos Esports have no hope for victory. They have now been eliminated with that last round of combat. A 3-star could put them back up into at least getting 13 stars total, but there is no way to close the gap now against a Pulse Gaming team that has guaranteed a ticket from their performance for this month. Only question yet remains is whether they can make it golden.
Yeah, Marcos Esports are now going to be rooting for Pulse Gaming to try to defeat Navi and get a golden ticket so that they can earn the silver ticket, since it will be past Navi since they already have it. So plenty on the line still. Marcos Esports still has a chance. Obviously not this match, but at a silver ticket depending on the performance of Pulse Gaming. We have the final attacker, Amar Gupta, wants to deliver a 3-star. Will it be Dragons? Will it be the Rue Riders? Been seeing quite a bit. I think he might have brought E-Dragons maybe last time, or Marcos Esports has brought in a lot of different dragon attacks as well. But we have seen a mix of clone spells. We've been seeing Yetis being put in there, balloons being put in those blimps. So we'll have to see what's up. And the final attack coming in for Marcos Esports here.
Amar Gupta with that bouncy ball going to be hitting a lot of different targets interior to the space, along with that giant arrow. Expect to see some massive damage cutting through. Doesn't quite get down the scatter shot with the heals from that builder hut out there. That is bad news for Amar's start on the space, but he could still salvage a 3-star if this big aerial army is able to march forth. Battle Blimp does make it to the town hall, and we're going to see a freeze dropped onto that air sweeper, trying to slow down the defenses on this push. Can he get the town hall down? Yeah, it goes down. Carbon, what are we looking at in the mid stage of this attack now? Can he still turn this into a triple?
Well, he did lure out the Ice Golems from the top side, so it's going to slow down that Queen quite a bit, as the Royal Champion is going to continue her path in towards the core now. Still has her ability, but the King also has his ability, and he is out in front of this Queen with a wall break there, going to allow his heroes to step on in, and that spiky ball send the funnel to really push his heroes into this base, and plenty of time. This base is gone. It's going to be a 3-star for Amar Gupta, a triple for Marcos Esports, and they will be pushing up to 13. Granted, they did have the 2 fails, so very nice effort from Marcos Esports, but it will be Pulse Gaming that will be advancing to the grand finals for the revenge and a rematch against Navi.
Amar Gupta with the second fastest time, right behind Krishan Don, and swagged a free spell. Could have gotten even more time peeled off there, but nonetheless, the 3-star from this player has been recorded, and with third place, it's going to be an $8,500 prize for this team. Congratulations to them, and they can hold out hope that maybe if one of these other squads picks up a ticket upgrade, that there still may be an opportunity for that third place spot to be worth something. Still, if not, they'll have to compete in one of our community events to earn a silver ticket to go to that last chance qualifier if they want to make it to Worlds. Marcos Esports has done an incredible job, and they might have been the team that overperformed the most so far this month, having gone from no performances at all this year to third place in a single showing. Really speaks well of the success that they've been able to get, and yet it is just going to be slightly short of that ticket that they so desperately wanted, Carbon Fin.
Yeah, every team here in this competition and the teams watching at home also want those tickets because there is so few of them available. There's 2 less than last year. So that means it's even harder to get that. And a team like Navi, who have been part of the World Championship every single year, this is their opportunity. They have one match. One match stands in the way of determining if they will be back to the World Finals. They continue their streak with a golden ticket.
Congratulations to Pulse Gaming. They will make this a closeout match between 2 Japanese teams in the grand finals. Natus Vincere and Pulse Gaming will be moving on. Advantageous spot for Navi since they moved on from the upper bracket. They only need to win one more war and it is all over, while Pulse Gaming will need to cause a bracket reset and then win again if the golden ticket is to be theirs. Pulse Gaming also missing a perfect war in this last hit. Didn't cost them the war, but it does make me think that Navi are still, as an undefeated team that has yet to miss an attack, clearly the team that is the favorite to get the grand final win next.
And our most valuable player here coming in, Chihawa, coming in with that fireball, rocket loons. Not only such a fast attack, but on the defensive side as well. Incredible stuff. And Pulse Gaming are advancing to the grand final. So now they're going to be getting ready. They're preparing. They're going to be sending the war request really soon. And this will be underway. But let's welcome back Itsu and Lex here to the desk. And let's get their thoughts. We'll start with you, Itsu, on Pulse now advancing to the grand finals.
Yeah, I feel like this specific match, like in this position, is always one of the matches with the highest pressure because you're getting the silver ticket. And as I said before the match, I felt like unlikely to see like 15-15 score, and it happened to be the lowest score, one of the lowest scores we had so far, with 14-13 in that position. And I would have expected that Marcos would have been the team to come out on top with holding their nerves together. But Pulse Gaming did a really, really good job of making sure that they're attacking really, really solid. One slip up with the earthquake, not bringing that to the attack, is quite unfortunate, but otherwise I think they did really, really well. And holding back on defense as well gives them now a really solid chance for facing Navi in the finals. Lex, how do you feel about that?
Overall, just a good performance from Pulse Gaming. I wasn't expecting 2 big slip-ups from Marcos like that, but they had a good run in this tournament. 2 perfect wars before this one, and it got really exciting for me when that last attack from Pulse, he forgot the earthquake, because I thought this match was done and over, and then all of a sudden, hold on, now he's going to have to fight the Monolith, the CC. This might get really interesting, but he stayed calm, handled it just well, and honestly got all the way back up to 98%. Great job from him to finish out the match.
Indeed, great job. Let's take a look at the bracket now to see where we stand and how these teams are, as Navi is in the grand finals taking on Pulse Gaming. And it was Navi that sent Pulse Gaming down to the lower bracket from round 2, where Navi got a perfect war against them. And then Navi got another perfect war against Marcus Esports. And can they continue that streak? While Pulse Gaming, they got a perfect war in the lower bracket. They did it in that last one. They pretty much, I could have said they would have got a perfect war if they had that earthquake. But this is going to be an epic match nonetheless here, Itsu.
Yeah, that's for sure. And really shows how strong the Japanese community is. I mean, 2 Japanese teams in the finals just like that is just showing how good those players are, and it's really, really impressive to then have like this epic clashing between those 2 top teams.
Well, Itsu, I know you've got to be proud of your own countrymen, because I'm pretty sure every single year the World Championship Clash of Clans event has had both a German team and a Japanese team represented. And so I think that there's a great chance that we will once again see the same happening here, with at least 1 ticket being awarded already to Navi, the possibility of a golden ticket, and then Pulse Gaming having a silver ticket. They might get gold as well. We could have maybe even both of them at the World Championship later this year.
Oh, yes.
Yes, indeed. Good performance from the Japanese teams here. It is fun to see, and also a lot of international teams that have been doing very well this year. Just a lot of superstar players all around the board. But Carbon, am I right in thinking that you have an interview coming up?
I do. Yes, indeed. So let's go ahead and welcome the one and only Coco, our fellow content creator. Welcome here. My goodness, we've had an incredible weekend here of Clash. I want to get your thoughts so far. What have your thoughts on the July monthly finals?
Oh, it's been amazing. It has been nothing short of spectacular. The tense matches coming neck and neck. They've been so close. And especially Navi keeping us glued to our screens as well. They've been risking it a little bit, especially with not many tickets left. They've kept us glued to our screens.
They have indeed. So with the performance of Navi coming in, they gone perfect back to back. And now Pulse Gaming are looking to get the revenge. Who do you think is gonna take home the golden ticket?
It's tough because Pulse going through the lower bracket, they've put in more work, more matches. Navi have had the opportunity to observe them quite a bit as well. So if they have some bases that they have reserved for them, now's the perfect chance to use them. However, Navi are a very solid team. You and the other casters today have mentioned many times before how many times that they've made it not just to the World Championship, but to the finals as well. So I think their heads in the game because they need that ticket to make it there yet another year.
Yeah, because getting that golden ticket, you don't have to worry about playing in the last chance qualifier with that silver ticket. And that means that there's many top teams playing in the last chance qualifier. So out of the teams that don't currently have golden tickets, is there any ones that you're looking out to keep an eye out to upgrade silver tickets for golden tickets? Or even, is there a team that maybe a handful of teams that you're surprised have not performed well or haven't even gotten tickets yet?
One that I'd be surprised on a little bit is Tribe. Tribe and Navi, a lot of the fans, the viewers, and us content creators have had our eyes out for both of these teams throughout the many qualifiers that we've had, and it is sad to see that Tribe haven't made it there yet, but they have made it there many times before. I'm hoping that they nip it in there and then they make it there towards the end. But as we've seen many teams before, this is their time to shine. You know, there's less tickets on the line, but you know, it could be anybody's game.
It could be indeed. And with Worlds, it is an in-person event where you're able to meet other fellow friends, the players, viewers from around the world, and just individuals who love Clash of Clans. What is one of your favorite experiences that you remember from the World Championship of Clash of Clans?
Oh, there's too many to list. That's way too hard. One of the best ones I remember is just being able to meet everybody, seeing them in person. We're all friends. We've played, worked, casted, smiled, laughed, and done all sorts together. It's really nice to meet everybody in person. It was so much fun playing games together outside of it, going to visit the cities that we've been able to go to these spectacular events. So if you haven't gone to one yet, trust me, you will love it if you get a chance to go.
Absolutely. It's an incredible experience to be able to put into the universe of Clash of Clans and watch with everyone else in the audience who also loves the game. It's been an incredible, just an experience, and I can't wait for this year's World Championship. It's always just gets better and better. But is there any other final words that you have for the viewers at home before we get ready for this grand finals?
Oh, it's just best of luck to the players, first of all, because obviously the pressure is heating up. You guys at home, make sure to remember who already has tickets at home, because depending on what happens in this next match, some might be shifting around.
It could indeed. So thank you so much, Coco, for joining us here today. And we will be jumping now back to the desk to see who is going to be getting the golden ticket. Remember, we have Pulse Gaming coming from the lower bracket. They must defeat Na'Vi 2 times in a row in order to get the golden ticket. Na'Vi, all they have to do is win 1 match. They win 1, they've upgraded their silver ticket to a golden ticket, and that is it. They advance to the World Championship, and they don't have to play in the last chance qualifier. A lot is the line here, Itsu, as we get ready for the grand finals.
Yeah, getting ready for the final match, or possibly final match, depending on if we see Pulse Gaming in the end winning, because I feel like at this point it would feel like an upset with how Na'Vi has performed over this qualifier. Pulse Gaming for sure is the team who has the chance of beating them, but can they do that in this specific match? And especially I'm looking forward to like the head-to-head between Kazuma and Chihuahua, because both of them have used now this fireball strategy and both have potential of really influencing this match in a really, really fast way with how quick they were with their 3-star attacks, Woody.
Right, you are, Itsu. Just want to echo what Coco was saying earlier. It's really fun to hang out at these Clash of Clans World Championship events. If you get a chance to go to the one this year, highly recommend it. We were sitting together playing, I forget what it was, some racing game, might have been F-Zero. And I've just been always wondering when Supercell is going to release a racing game. They haven't done so yet, but they managed to turn the current metagame for Clash of Clans into a race. And so I guess I can be satisfied in some way with what we've got here. We now are going to get to see 2 incredibly fast squads going head to head in the last open bracket match for a ticket to qualify to the World Championship. Pulse Gaming and Na'Vi have both got all the opportunity in the world to make their dreams come true in the next hour or two. But I think that the advantage is still on Na'Vi's side. The prediction from the casters, the viewers so far, just looking back at the history books, everything seems to be coming up Na'Vi. So let's kind of flip that script on its head. Lex, what do you think Pulse needs to do in order to get the win back to back?
They straight up need to turn this into a racing game. We've seen it done before in the past. Na'Vi, I think, won their world championship from the lower bracket, beating Tribe twice in a row with Perfect Wars. Synchronic did it earlier this year to win the first golden ticket from the lower bracket, won in the grand finals 2 times in a row. We've seen it time and time again. It is possible, but they have to come out swinging hard, racing as fast as they can. They're gonna have to hit 2 Perfect Wars. I think that's what they need to do right here if they want to win a golden ticket, and it has to be with fast attacks all around.
Well, let's see if they're going to be quick enough, as we're going to take a look at the caster predictions here and see how we are all stacking up against each other. And I mean, we're all taking Na'Vi here in match number 10. And if that's the case, then that's it. It will be over and they have a golden ticket. But if Na'Vi loses, then we'll have match number 11. And Itsu, I can only wonder, why would you be selecting Na'Vi here in this position as well?
I mean, we have just now said it many times that everything is kind of like in their favor with the meta that they are bringing with the fireball, some surges into the mix which the other teams might not expect, might not defend, might not really are prepared to compete versus that with the quick time. But something I want to highlight as well with the predictions, you are getting better and better with those, because I remember with the first qualifier, it did not look that great for you. So you're getting better with each qualifier, and I'm kind of scared of where we are finishing the rest of the year, where you're going to go like 100%. So for this one, since you're predicting Na'Vi, I think they have an even better chance. And take a look at this.
Oh boy.
92% of the community. I think this has to be the highest number we ever had in the community voting. I think ever, Woody.
Yeah, it certainly trumps the number that we saw earlier for Na'Vi versus Marcos Esports. I can't remember any war that was more one-sided on the prediction. And yet I still think Pulse have a chance to maybe pull off one win from Na'Vi. We did see great use of the fireball by the Grand Warden from Na'Vi, but also Pulse has done it as well. Chihawa is one of the quickest attackers in this entire competitive scene right now. It's just a question of whether his 4 compatriots can keep pace against a squad that Na'Vi just does not miss. They haven't missed yet. They're the only team still left in this bracket that has gone perfect the whole way through. And so I don't know what Pulse could possibly do. I'm really looking forward to watching this next war, but I'm going to be on the edge of my seat with every Pulse attack, seeing if they can come up with some clever way to make this war a close one.
It is fun to see that this is turning into a David versus Goliath sort of situation. Everybody in the community seems to be thinking it's a surefire win for Na'Vi, but you never know. Na'Vi have been doing so great all weekend long, but random slip-ups can happen. I'm not going to jinx them. I'm knocking on my desk, but who knows what's going to happen. Pulse Gaming are a team that can consistently hit 15 stars, so I do find it kind of wild that everybody in the community seems to be counting them out.
And don't forget, this was the exact scenario that we had in the very first, where we had, or not in the first one, but like it's Na'Vi's trying to then not lose their opportunity of a grand finals, where remember when Na'Vi lost, they obviously got a silver ticket. They had an opportunity before to be able to try to get a golden ticket, so they want to take full advantage of it here, and it's their opportunity. So we're getting ready for the grand finals right now, as it'll be myself and Itsu to take you through it, as we will see Leknos and Woody in a bracket reset if there is one. So let's get ready for the grand finals match here. The winner, if it's Na'Vi, gets a golden ticket. If Pulse Gaming wins, we will have a bracket reset and they will have a chance at trying to get that gold.
That is going to be the question for this match. Who is going to get that victory? Is it going to be the kind of like, I guess, the finish everyone is expecting with Na'Vi claiming their golden ticket? Or is it going to be a huge plot twist with Pulse Gaming getting the victory and forcing a tiebreaker match in this final of the last qualifier of this entire year? We're going in with Pulse Gaming starting things off, and it's going to be a Root Rider Bakery attack with the King and that Angry Jelly combination.
Yeah, with that King towards the top side, you're going to move from defense to defense, courteous of that Angry Jelly. Warden is down following with the Root Riders and the Valkyries. And remember, he has to be approaching around 60 to 70 seconds, because that is what Na'Vi has been doing so far here in the monthly finals in order to set that tone as the Royal Champions takes out that single target Inferno. Warden abilities used, dropping the Rage, and they're going to pair in that Overgrowth for that Town Hall.
Yeah, there goes that Overgrowth you were talking about. The back end Monolith is not getting hit, but he is covering the splash damage defenses around it, which makes sure that this skeleton spell is distracting that heavy hitting defense quite nicely. The Root Riders are stuck inside the middle. We have talked about that the Tornado Trap in delaying things sometimes is something positive for the attacker. There goes a Rage now, kind of into nothing as the troops are going there. The Town Hall's waking up, the Freezer's there, but the troops should overpower this no problem.
Yeah, with some Super Hog, Drew Riders backtrack towards the town hall, taking that down. The Queen has stayed alive, continue to finish this one off. And there it is, Watto taking down Klaus's base, but it's approaching a 1:22, I believe. Yeah, 1 minute 22 second triple coming in from Watto for Pulse Gaming.
Solid start into the match, but remember, the worst time of Na'Vi in their upper bracket final match was 1 minute and 20 seconds. The question is, are the bases of Pulse Gaming giving them a harder challenge in this match than in the upper bracket final match?
We'll have to see. We'll have to see indeed. There's no bases you're going to be saving. This is it. Bring any of the bases that you think may slow down your opponent because they know it's gonna get tripled. They're building the bases as base builders for traps on the outside to potentially snipe some healers that spawn from the Archer Queen puppet. Maybe they try to have all the spring traps launch the Valkyries around the base so that slows down the push and you don't continue your way through. So it's the small details that can slow down attacks, that can push it up to a minute 30, that can give your team the advantage.
Yeah, that is going to be for sure the goal here, to force some slow attacks, to force that average time to go in your favor as a team, or maybe even get a defense. We have seen in the last match for Pulse Gaming and as well for Marcus Esports quite some struggle, even though for Pulse Gaming it was mainly due to the spell which they have not really got into their army composition.
Yeah.
But those are like as well things which are outside of the match but still is in fact like affecting the concentration level of those players. For example, those nervous situations, those things can happen. They have to prepare the armies, they have to try to think about every possibility which might happen during the attack and try to cover with that with spells, troops and everything.
What we should do now is pay attention to the webcams of these players to see if their hands are shaking. Yes, Na'Vi has the experience. They've been in situations like this many times, but still, there has to be nerves. And when you're a player, I'm sure you can probably relate. If you don't have the nerves when you're in that moment, then you're not fully grasping how much pressure is on. I'm sure you can have all the experience in the world, but it's the nerves and the nervousness that you're fighting through that really brings the passion towards it. And just like Tryhard said in his interview, it's gonna be like a roller coaster. You're gonna have ups and downs, but when you perform, it makes it so much more rewarding and pays off, as Gaku is gonna be leading it off for Na'Vi here to try to be under a minute 22 in his first attack.
That is going to be his goal for sure, as he is the opener attacker for his team, trying to set up this match as optimal for them as possible, and getting an early lead would be quite nice. But it's going to be the Dragons again. Wait a second. Was that the Earthquake boots? Have we ever seen the Earthquake boots in a qualifier? I'm not even sure.
I don't think so, but here we go. Gaku's bringing it. We can't see his hands in this shot, so we're just going to be able to see his reaction as the Grand Warden moving in with the Dragons and Balloons. We have Headhunters running right to the Warden, but it's okay as the Warden ability has gone off, and the King is to the far right side. And let's see how he utilizes the Earthquake boots to move on into this base.
Yeah, getting him into that base with the ability. King is getting ready for that ability. There we go. Spiky Ball in the mix as well. And he's going to open up that compartment for the Archer Queen, it seems like. As long as she's like wrapping around now. And yes, she's doing that. She's following now the outside openings, going into the Monolith. The skeleton spells are going to distract that. And he's going to finish on that Town Hall with around 55 seconds gone. And now closing in on the Town Hall.
Look at how many spells he has left here, and the Queen can continue to reach over the wall. So the Earthquake boots did work to allow the Queen to step in, and Gaku gets the 3-star here at a 1 minute and 10 second triple. What a way to use Earthquake boots, and a very smart thing to do. No giant gauntlet, didn't need it. He went Spiky Ball, Earthquake boots, Now that is something that you're saving for the grand finals. You don't want to give your opponents an idea for their attacks. And I can only wonder, what is Navi going to be bringing for the rest of their hits? Are they going to be bringing more of that? They're like, okay, let's save it for the grand finals, not hold anything back because we're looking to upgrade to a golden ticket.
Yeah, I mean, that opening was quite smart, making sure that he's leading his queen into that opening, and as well planning ahead, because I would have expected most players would maybe plan on the Barbarian King of taking that opening of the Earthquake Boots, but instead he was preparing for the pathing and the setup of this Archer Queen, making sure that she can move in, take down that defense, and, well, set up the Dragons to success. And with that, they're starting things off with a 70 seconds triple, which is already 12 seconds ahead of their opponents. But Pulse Gaming are up next, and they have the chance of improving their average time as well, or making it, well, go into the wrong direction, I guess, as well.
All it takes is one single attack to really mess up the average time duration. One thing goes wrong, you miss one building, but that's where you have spotters. And you have plenty of experience, and many people at home probably don't even know what that means. So can you explain what a spotter is when you're a pro player in Clash of Clans?
Well, when you're a player, you're probably attacking on voice. In optimal cases, you're attacking with someone next to you. When you're in person, Lex has already talked about like how this can boost up the motivation, the momentum within your team, the energy level. But typically when you're on voice, you're just trying to call out certain things to your teammates, like, okay, remember about timings. For example, the attacker is doing the attack normally, but then, well, remember to use the king now, remember to concentrate on this or that if there's heavy damage on any part of your attack. So this is kind of like the second set of eyes on your attack, making sure that nothing is overseen and you are catching everything as a team, and obviously supporting the attacker from your team. And the next team to attack is Pulse Gaming. They are up next. They need to get a quick 3-star in. We know how fast Navi is going to attack, so they have to stay really low with their average time.
And Lincoln is bringing the Root Riders and Falcons. And does he switch it up? They could bring an Earthquake Boot. Remember, they could plan it on the fly, but probably won't do that. More or less, they would then plan later after matches of trying to research of like, wait, why would Navi bring Earthquake Boots? Is that actually the better thing to do? But Lincoln is going to start off with that queen to the left side in front of the defensive king. There is the arrow, sniping some buildings to help establish the funnel so that now the siege barracks, Root Riders, Warden, and everything can kind of come down to the bottom side. And King is yet to be placed, but he has an angry jelly on him.
Yeah, but I think it's funny enough that he's going with the ground attack while just sniping 2 air defenses, but it was supposed to be just about the pathing. So from that scatter and that ground expo, the troops can path into the core, into that Mustache tower, and there goes the rage to lead them into the core as quickly as possible.
Yeah, with the defensive ice golems getting lured out, they do switch up to moving up to the top side a little bit, but there is the overgrowth. Poison spell got launched, so he's gonna have to wait through that a little bit. But the king, he is making his way, I don't even, oh, is he to the top side? Yeah, there's the king, his spiky ball skipping across all the way through the core as super barbarians are being placed around, and the Royal Champion still has her ability as well.
Yeah, the Royal Champ can re-enter that core as soon as the town hall is waking up again. There's a huge wave of troops with the P.E.K.K.A, with the Valkyries in the mix as well, encountering that area in front of the town hall. There goes the last rage, another freeze, and this should be a nice 3-star for them. But if you take a look at the time, you see this reaction again. The time is not as fast as they were hoping for. They are going to decrease the time. I think it was 1 minute and 20 seconds. But that's not getting close to the 1 minute and 10 seconds of Navi, which sounds just crazy. But it's just so hard. It's just so hard to catch up.
It's so difficult. These pros are just so good. They show up on this stage time and time again. When in the previous meta at Town Hall 15, they're here. Now even in Town Hall 16, they are still here. They are masters of being the best. And in this case, they're able to dissect the bases and make it even quicker. And that's why these players, these teams consistently come onto this stage month after month, and they are just so good. And we're gonna have to continue to see. I'm not gonna lie. The player I am most nervous to see is going to be Klaus because of his fireball if he decides to bring that, because there's been cases where Klaus has missed the fireball and then the attack has gone south. So it really comes down to the value. If he doesn't hit it, then the attack could be over. But if he hits it, the base is usually always crushed. We've seen from Stars, we've seen Kazuma just absolutely crushed with the fireball as well, but it's been Klaus that has struggled with it at some points. So if he can get the value, and he's probably going to be the last attacker, so it could come all on his shoulders in the end.
Yeah, I feel like especially the pros are going always for those high risk, high reward fireball attacks, right? And I think especially because people are not really using it that often, there is not like Tesla against it, or really rarely, and this means that you can take those risks more. I feel like a lot of times as well, you don't need to go for those crazy fireballs to see the 3-star, but those are the fireballs which are getting you those crazy results when it comes down to time, and this is what those pros are fighting for. This is why they're going for those high risk, high reward fireball attacks. And we see the next attacker for Na'Vi in with the classic equipments by now. Again, another giant arrow across of setting up the pathing, and I guess he wants to enter on this merged cannon with his Root Riders, and this is exactly what he has done, setting up the pathing into the Raid Shower, into the core of this base for his troops.
With the Root Riders being placed, Warden, we have an Apprentice Warden there to give a little boost of some HP as he's going to path his way straight into the core. There's a Rage going to get ready for the Warden. Internal Tome just pops it now as his Queen's going to just coast her way through the bottom side of the space, making her way to the right side as the Overgrowth is used, but he doesn't clip the Town Hall here, and that could be a big problem. Hang on.
Oh no, the Trade Trap is there as well. This means the Town Hall can deal a lot of damage, and then the explosion is coming in, and the Town Hall poison as well on top of that. The Queen is still looking strong, but there goes the Royal Gem ability quite early into the bomb tower, which means none of those Hog Riders are going to survive. The Super Minions are stuck on those ground skeletons, but there should be a lot of Root Riders still left and overpowering the back end.
Luckily, the troops did not go straight through the Town Hall poison. They moved off to the right side, and Yada's okay. He's smiling as it is a 3-star and approaches about a minute 16. So under what Pulse Gaming has been hitting, and it brings the average up a little bit from a 1 minute 10, and that's going to jump up just to a minute 13. Still in the favor of Na'Vi at the moment.
Na'Vi still in the lead. It's a slower attack, but still below this 1 minute and 20 second count, which we have talked about earlier. Was there, and that's crazy enough to say, was there his slowest attack in the upper bracket final, which is just crazy to even think about, because we have seen other teams where the fastest players are with this time of 1 minute 20 seconds, and that just shows how good Na'Vi is. But well, Pulse Gaming, they have done pretty good of staying around the 1 minute 20 second mark as well, but they need 1 or 2 crazy fast attacks. And so far, Chihuahua was one of those players of actually getting those quick attacks. Can he get that in now as well?
That will be the question. Will he be able to bring a Fireball Rocket Loon attack? Because that has been what's quick for him, and it's been working. But now, what will also Na'Vi do? Will we see Kazuma? I'm pretty much guaranteeing probably going to see a Fireball. He's been bringing it the whole weekend, and it's been dominating. So we're going to probably see a lot faster attacks as well. All it takes is one attack to be slow to cost you in a grand finals with everything on the line.
Everything on the line indeed between those two teams, but we have still not seen Kazuma as well, who has used those fireball attacks. And you have already talked about Klaus being sometimes like a wild card in the current meta, with using sometimes the fireball and sometimes not, so that's for sure something we have to look out for. But currently Pulse Gaming is getting ready with their next attack, and I think it should be the fireball, right? If they are following the order, I think it was in attacking position number 3, sometimes 4, something like that. No, okay, it's first. Okay, it's first Sahara going in the number 3 position, and he is going to attack Kazuma.
maybe Chihuahua is going to look to go last. I mean, NYU went last, and maybe he might be like, okay, I'm going to go last because I get more time to plan my fast fireball. And if I need to be as quick as possible, I can literally try to deploy everything and go all out and try to get the 3-star. And if it doesn't get it, if it's a 1, it doesn't matter because we would have lost anyways if we didn't get that time, didn't get a very quick triple. So it could be that mindset going into it. But remember, since Na'Vi is in the upper bracket, they are attacking second. So Na'Vi has an advantage of attacking last in this match. So no matter what, they will know what they have to do going into the final attack. As Sahara now for Pulse Gaming is going to bring in the Root Riders and 13 Valks, quite a bit of them.
That's a lot of Valkyries right there. I mean, I think by now Valkyries are, and that might be a crazy take, but they're equally strong as Root Riders. It is just crazy how many hit points they have gotten with the last couple of level, over the last town level, and buffs in general and everything. For 8 housing space, they are really, really tanky, and they're synergizing just so well with the healing tome of that Warden. That's exactly what all of those pros are bringing. Spring traps though, and we saw that already, they can still hit them because of the lower housing space number. But as long as you are too fast, those spring traps can't hit.
Yeah, with an overgrowth still to be placed, it hits that monolith, the poison spell tower as well, pops that King's spiky ball as he's going to continue his way past the town hall with the P.E.K.K.A. We have Super Hawk getting sprung from the top side, running his way on through, has 2 rages, 2 freezes still to use on this base.
Yeah, there's still plenty of spells to use and so many troops left. And take a look at the time. The time so far is looking incredible. The overgrowth has to wake up, and that's exactly happening. Double raids, freeze everywhere. And this is looking like a solid time, even though the last couple of buildings take some time to go down. Clan Castle next. And he is getting a really, really solid hit versus this base of Kazuma. Should be around like 1 minute. I think it was like 12 seconds or something, 13 maybe.
Yep.
Okay, 1 minute 12 seconds, which is lowering their average yet again. And maybe this is going to pressure Na'Vi.
It is going to put pressure onto Na'Vi with the final attackers still to come from Na'Vi. We have Kazuma, Stars, and Klaus to close it off. If they can continue to bring very fast triples, they can win this match and get that golden ticket. But Pulse Gaming is not going anywhere. They are putting up amazing attacks as well. So it's going to be coming down to the end. Every single attack, every single second matters, as it most likely will probably be a perfect. So it all comes down to this.
It has high chances of doing so, even though there is more and more pressure building up for the last remaining attackers in this match. They know what is on the line. This golden ticket is such an important thing for this year for those players, because I mean there's just so much prize money as well on the line with just getting this victory here, because even the last place in this world's bracket then later is giving you so much more prize money. So it's really such a crazy big difference, which you can never underestimate.
Yeah, just winning that, you're gonna be going out to the World Championship. Yeah, there's a lot of planning and preparation leading up to that you have to do, but being able to play on that big stage in front of everyone with the lights, it's just that experience you can't get anywhere else. Yeah, you play on these online qualifiers, but you're sitting in the comfort of your own home, and you don't have to worry about walking on stage, making sure you're able to follow the direction of, okay, now it's my attack here, sitting in this place where you're not used to playing Clash of Clans, where you're always used to playing at home there. But all right, here it is. Kazuma's time. He's gonna look to bring a very fast triple. He's been the fastest attacker here on Na'Vi. So what he does here is gonna set the tone of this match here with rocket loads and the fireball from Kazuma. 19 here. He's gonna pair in a giant arrow. His last attack unfortunately didn't hit the value of the giant arrow, but he's gonna look to turn that around here as we have a Yeti placed already. Wizards, invis, Warden Fireball hits that ground expo. Earthquake goes down and gets a double earthquake. Takes out a lot of value right there from the fireball.
That was a ton of value. Oh my lord, that was half the base just gone. There goes the overgrowth spell, making sure that this core is not as deadly anymore. The wardens keep going at the top side, taking down defenses left and right. More rocket dudes are coming in. The far right side, he can target that already as well. And that's exactly what he does with minions behind. And Carbon, he's just crossing the 45-second mark.
Wow, look at that. The minions are already down for cleanup. He has the king with the spiky ball to be able to pop the ability. He's waiting probably for almost like one of the 9 buildings remaining. If that spiky ball hits the court, it will actually snipe the spell towers and take them down. Still waiting. 2 more rocket loose to deploy. There it goes. It flies across this base, taking them down. Snipes the multi with rocket loons, and that is a 3-star swag and spells. This man is getting in the 60-second range, and he doesn't even need all the spells. Kazuma, 68 seconds, and who needs all your spells? Sure. Oh my.
I mean, we were talking about how this attack might influence the average time of Navi, and he is even able to push that average time lower. That is just such an insane attack. The fireball, I think he took down like, what was it, 6 key buildings, which means like X-bows, merged the defenses like cannon and archer towers and such things. That was just insane with the double earthquake setup. And the cool thing about this is that still the Warden is keep working with his Rage Aura, which means there is so much damage, and this is then so much time which is saved going forward in the attack, and this makes sure that those crazy times are even just possible.
It's just crazy, crazy, crazy how fast they can be and accurate. It gets it done. You just have to keep your eye on if Teslas pop up for the Warden on the outside. At this point, if you're a defender against Navi, you might literally have to try to bait Warden value for a fireball. Like, you have to put an incredible value around in a certain section. Okay, make it so you should fireball that, but then Teslas pop. Something pops on the outside that draws that fireball to go to a different direction, and it doesn't get that value, because if it doesn't hit, the attack most likely will probably result in a 2-star, and it could get into a 1-star because that fireball with a Warden Internal Tome you won't have for later in your attack, and your heroes might not be able to push into the core.
Yeah, like if the fireball is going the wrong direction, this is just such a nightmare then to really recover not only the 3rd star, if that is even possible, but as well just thinking about the average time there for your team, because you have to recover then just so much. But we see now the fireball attacker from Pulse Gaming as well. Can he pull off as well such a miracle attack around the 60-second mark? This is what his team would need. Can he pull that off? That is now the big question.
With Chihuahua, he's the one that is a very fast attacker for Pulse Gaming. He could definitely bring that average down, looking to take down the Captain Gaku, as it's Heat Dragons. Okay, something I was not expecting here. Now this is throwing me for a loop as the Queen's arrow goes across, flies through there, doesn't snipe that poison spell with a potential earthquake, as he does hit the poison spell tower with that arrow. As the Heat Dragons are down, Bat Spell out in front of the Monolith as the Warden ability has already been used. Double Rages coming on through as his heroes are going to be walking around the edge of the space.
Yeah, but the pathing and funneling so far of those Legend Dragons looks just perfect, to be honest. He has a couple of them going to the far left, a few of them for the Town Hall. We have the Queen on the outside, the Royal Gym is getting added, the King at the top side. There's so many things happening currently. The only problem might be that though Tesla are luring the King away. And the question now is, where is he going to path with the Sigurd Throne Tower locked onto it as well?
Yeah, the E-Dragons in the core looks like they have disappeared. He wanted to get the chains through, and the big thing, the E-Dragons did not remove that clan castle. The King is dead as well. The King didn't even have the Phoenix, so he never came back to life. The Phoenix was placed on the Warden, so he could get additional value. But since the E-Dragons didn't clear the core, the Ice Golems came out, slowed things down as it continues through. Royal Champion already burned their ability, and this might... Hang on, the Queen's gonna have to go through this wall. If anything, the Queen... Wait, no, the healers aren't on her. Can the Queen even finish this one off for even a 3-star is the question. Uh-oh, the single of the Skellies might distract him. Oh, the single goes down.
It is still going to be a 3-star. There's not going to be enough damage, but the Queen has to get through that wall first, then through the Town Hall as a bidding, and through the scatter shot, which means this is not going to be one of those quick attacks. He has decided to go with the Electro Dragons, but it is not paying off for him this time around. Those Tesla in front of the Inferno Tower perfectly lured his king away, and that was such a nice bait, because a lot of teams now use this Angry Jelly to funnel the king into an opening. And there was an opening intentional from the Na'Vi base builders, giving the attacker the impression that they can funnel the Barbarian King with the Angry Jelly without any other investment into that opening. But those Tesla luring the king away has really cost him on this one with a lot of time. 1 minute 52 seconds. That is not good for the average time here.
And this is where the base builders come into play. They slow you down. The smallest details in this match can play a huge role, as now stars, remember, they still have to triple. They still have to bring it faster attacks than what Pulse Gaming has done, but Na'Vi is really in the lead at the moment. Even if Na'Vi gets a 2-minute attack, granted, it could be all the way up to 3 if it's almost a time fail, but a 2-minute attack, and they are still in the lead by 11 seconds. So let's see what Stars does with his spiky ball, 26 rocket loons, and indeed has his own fireball here with 2 bat spells, 3 earthquakes. At least 1 earthquake has to be used for the fireball, unless you're going to hit the Eagle Artillery. Then you need 2 earthquakes with a fireball there.
And 5 invisibility. What is the plan of him? There goes those invis. There goes the fireball. And is he going to get everything? The Eagle as well. Such great opening, but that Inferno Tower stayed alive, and that one fried his Warden. But I think that's not the biggest issue for now, at least.
With rocket loons coming to the far left side, a Tesla farm is there, as the King's ability has already gone off. Blimp is now going to look to go secure this town hall, so those balloons flew out in front to test for traps. And look at this, one of the oldest tricks in the book, having sneaky goblins inside of the Blimp, because there was walls around the town hall, so there couldn't have been traps. So he knew it was safe for sneakies to go and secure the town hall.
Yeah, really nicely done by him. He's now just sniping those biddings, adding the minions for a cleanup at this point. And there's just so many minions. The Queen getting saved, and take a look at that. He redirected with the invisibility spell the ice golems, so his Queen does not have to encounter that while there are defenses on her. Really smart play. The last couple of spells are going to be used to turn defensive skeleton traps and such things invisible to make sure that time is going to be speed up at least a little bit. But it's going to be a 3-star for Na'Vi, but it seems to be their slowest so far. But with the attack which we have just seen from Pulse, that should be no problem. Right?
No problem whatsoever. They'll still have at least almost a 30-second lead into the final attack, as Na'Vi's average attack duration does climb a bit from a minute to 11, and it will go to a minute 15, but that's still 11 average second lead, and Na'Vi is looking to coast to try to get a golden ticket and doesn't have to potentially play in the last chance qualifier.
Yeah, and Klaus is going to be the last attacker there, and I hope that he's going for his safest attack he has ever done, if you can like call a 3-star a safe attack. But this is really what he has to do. Well, on the other side, Pulse Gaming now has to either hope for a miracle run on, I don't know, like the fastest 3-star record-setting attack on Dano 16, or have to hope for a defense or maybe an incredible slow attack of Klaus. First off, they need to attack next.
It is never over until that final attack is done and you see those stars coming up on the board. NYU is going to look to put up a perfect war here now for Pulse Gaming and put all the pressure onto Klaus to try to close it out. What will NYU bring? Will it be the Root Riders Valks? We've seen the E-Dragons here. We've seen dragons. We've seen Earthquake Boots. We're getting a mix of almost everything here in the Grand Finals.
It is a really big mix, a lot of variety now, or more variety now with this final match. Pulse Gaming getting ready for their last attack, taking their time, making sure their nerfs are somehow under control. All of the correct spells are in this RB composition, all of the correct troops, the correct equipments are selected, because by now there is so many things you have to keep track of, right? Like the army earlier was just one little thing. Now you have to consider pets, you have to consider equipment, like there's so many more things to attacking. And he's going in with those Root Riders and the Valkyries early on into these monolith, with the clan cards right behind.
Yeah, we have a lot of small bombs getting popped from the bottom side. The Root Riders are kind of pathing in a couple different directions here, still hanging on to that Warden ability as the King, now with his Angry Jellies, continuing through that scatter shot, so getting that value, as there is finally the Warden ability, protect a handful of Root Riders, but I don't think there's too many left here in the core. But luckily the World Champion is also placed, and she's going to snipe the Monolith as he continues his way through to the top with no overgrowth.
Yeah, no overgrowth on this one. The Queen is following the Valkyries into their compartment. There goes the freeze. But can the Royal Champion take down the town hall? I feel like everything relies on her, since she can jump over those walls. The Root Riders have followed. The town hall has went down. It's a really quick attack, but the town hall poison is slowing him down at least a little bit.
Yeah, it's slowing him down, but it won't be enough to slow him down, as it is a triple from NYU there for Pulse Gaming. And now the pressure is going to come on to Klaus. Can he get it done? I mean, we are sitting at a minute 22 average, while Navi at a minute 15. Total time right now, if you're not counting the average, just total time in the attack. Right now, Pulse Gaming is at 6 minutes, 53 seconds total, while Navi is at 5 minutes, 2 seconds total. So Klaus has plenty of time on his side to get it done, to get that golden ticket and advance to the Clash of Clans World Championship.
Everything in his hands. Klaus can control the faith of Navi for this year. They were favorites from the beginning of the year. They were favorites for many.
Oh, there's a fireball! I'm scared.
But can they get this golden ticket? And Klaus is deciding to go in with the fireball, and I am scared.
Oh,
And there are Tesla.
there's Teslas. Okay. Fireball hits the town hall, takes the buildings around it down, and he even snipes and grabs the town hall. I think so with the Eternal Tome. Look at that! The Eternal Tome on the Warden allowed him to survive and continue to get that value.
And that was just genius that he used the Angry Jelly, because with that he was able to reinforce his push with Rocket Loons without the Warden getting or going away from the town hall, because with the Angry Jelly mode on your hero, they're ignoring other troops, other things, like everything pretty much, especially the Warden. So that was really a smart move. Now with the blimp towards this monolith on the far right side, the jump into the core with his heroes, the Rocket Loons from the top sides, minions everywhere, Carbon. This attack is looking really strong.
This is looking fantastic as he continues his way into the core with double freezes, preventing that rage spell from activating, as everything is coming right to the core, looking to overwhelm. He's smiling, and ladies and gentlemen, Navi are going to be victorious and getting a golden ticket to the Clash of Clans World Championship, upgrading their silver to gold, and we will see them later this year. Congratulations to Navi getting it done and going undefeated in the July monthly finals.
And getting 15 stars every single time when it matters. Really impressive showing. And obviously we have talked about that earlier before the match, how much impact that match had as well on other teams, because with winning this golden ticket, this means as well that Batang is going to get a silver ticket as well. The silver ticket, which was originally owned by Navi from one of the first qualifiers.
That's huge for Vatang. They are now happy that they've been upgraded because Navi got it done here this month. And what an impressive performance. And it was exactly a 30-second victory for Navi total time. 30 seconds is how much time that they had the advantage in this match over the 5 attacks. Well done, and Navi will be advancing. They're going to be going to the Clash of Clans World Championship, which they don't have to play in the last chance qualifier. That is a huge relief because you have to win the last chance qualifier to get that golden ticket, and there's so many amazing teams that are going to be there, and Pulse Gaming is now going to be one of them.
Yeah, now the biggest question is, who actually won the MVP vote from this last match? Who do you think? I think it will be Klaus, just because he was the last attacker. So
Probably.
we'll remember his attack the most, I guess. And
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's Klaus. Everyone knows that guy. So I would go with him. Or do you think anyone can challenge him there?
I mean, Gaku with Earthquake Boots was great. Kazuma was great. And, like, they're all great. Every single one of them is deserving. But impressive stuff that we're seeing from Navi. They truly were the best throughout this tournament here this month, and they have deserved it. Stars at a minute 27 was the slowest out of all their attacks. But unfortunately, Chihuahua right there, a minute 52, definitely played a huge factor in this match of them losing on the time. But again, 15-15 in this match. And we will now be seeing Navi with a golden ticket in the Clash of Clans World Championship.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy to think about if that one attack would have been more in line with the remaining attacks of his team. 30 seconds, you said, what's the entire total difference? It could have looked different. But in the end, it is Navi winning this one. Woody, Lex, I think you enjoyed this one behind the scenes. Woody, what do you think of that last match here?
Oh, I sure did enjoy it. And man, it played out almost exactly the way that we were anticipating it. An extremely tight match down to the very end. But Navi ahead. A golden ticket team has re-emerged and will be marching back to defend a world championship title that they've earned in the past. Not the reigning champions, but Navi could be it again. Let's take a look at that bracket one more time, Lex.
Awesome job from Navi to go all the way through, undefeated in the monthly qualifiers last week, undefeated in the monthly qualifiers this week. 15 stars in every single performance. Some great matches from the other teams as well, but Navi just proving to stand the test of time. One of, if not the only team to appear at the World Championship every single year since Clash of Clans started these events.
And it's just such an impressive run that we have seen Navi been on. And if Navi wasn't in the Clash of Clans World Championship, it would have been so weird because they've been in it so many every single year. But let's take a look at the predictions and see how we did. And there it is. Look at that. I went perfect here today. I wonder if production could bring up day one. I don't know how. I don't remember unless, wait, day one. Oh, I only had one wrong the whole time. Wait, what? Momentum shifters. What happened? I could have been perfect. Oh, if I only picked against them. But hey, incredible performance there from Navi. They are victorious and they get that golden ticket. And wow, this was definitely probably my best prediction I've had ever.
I mean, I know for sure that for the last chance qualifier, I mean, I will always predict after you. Like, I would just spy the chat like it's nothing and just will copy your predictions. That was really, really impressive. Great job going nearly perfect with that predictions. But in the end, as well, I mean, the showcase of Navi was just so fun as well, with their different approach to the meta with the fireball attacks, setting them up perfectly, because I feel like this is such an important thing with this equipment, setting it up, making sure it gets the value, and then you can get and claim those crazy rewards in those attacks with those really impressive times.
Wow. And
Well, let's take a look at what will come now, because that is going to be all that we have for this standard event season. Synchronic, VM Legacy, Milliseam MG, and Navi are your golden ticket winners and will be going on to the World Championship to be contested later this year. Vatang, HTM Esports, Momentum Shifters, and Pulse Gaming all have silver tickets and will compete in September during the last chance qualifier. There's 2 more positions open for the last chance qualifier that will be claimed by the champions of the Snapdragon Pro Series Season 5 and the Global Clash Cup. Lots of excitement still left to come in the Clash of Clans World Championship Series this year, and that $1 million total prize pool available to grab, Lex.
Yes, indeed. And so with that last chance qualifier coming up, make sure you guys tune into that September 7th and September 8th, where the final 6 teams will battle for that last golden ticket, and we will know the final team joining us at the World Championship later this year. But before we send you guys on your way, some final thoughts, Carbon, about this whole weekend.
It was such an incredible performance we saw from all these teams there. And of course, from Navi, upgrading their tickets from silver to gold. I'm going to see them in the Clash of Clans World Championship. And just a huge shout out to all the players, all the time that they put in to this. Also, their base builders, their efforts are also recognized. Of course, huge shout out to my fellow co-casters. You guys did an amazing job. To Production Supercell. And of course, all of you watching at home. Wouldn't be possible with all of your support. So thank you guys so much. And how about you, Itsu?
I mean, I think it was just an amazing qualifier. We have seen incredible close matches with like really close times, buildings, everything. We have seen as well, kind of like a meta shift to some degree with Navi being in this bracket and this setup with their fireball attacks. We have seen that as well from Pulse. Some people adapting their playstyle and bringing it as well into their attacks and into their matches. So I think overall it was an incredible qualifier. It was a pleasure to cast with all of you guys, and I cannot wait for the last chance qualifier, because if this trend continues, it's going to be really, really fire, Woody.
Yeah, this was a superb show that we had today. Really want to say thanks again to everyone who made this possible. The cast, the crew, all the players that have been competing for so long, but especially to the viewers who have tuned in today to show their support for the teams that they've come to love so much. That is the reason why we have an esports scene, because all of you out there are watching and are eager to compete alongside these top teams. It's been a great season so far, and we have a few more extraordinary shows left. Make sure to also follow us here wherever you're watching, or tune in on the event.supercell.com Clash of Clans page, where you can get even more in-game rewards just for watching here and registering your own predictions. Maybe you can do an even better job of predicting than I can. I can't say this week was the best, but congrats to Carbon for doing an excellent job on the predictions. And Lex, let's toss it back to you to close us out.
Awesome job, everybody. It's been a lot of great matches this weekend. Big shout out to all the teams for participating. Some awesome matches, and maybe even next time we'll get one match where they do end up tying on time. We'll have to wait and see. But thank you everybody for watching. Make sure you tune in to the last chance qualifier September 7th and September 8th. And until then, clash on.